To get my nagging family off my back about tying the knot, I threw down 9.9 yuan online to rent a fake bride. But who could have predicted that when we showed up at the Civil Affairs Bureau, the clerk would glare at me like I was pure trash? You're already married, and you have the nerve to register again? Have you never heard of bigamy? Stumbling out of the building, I stared at the printed marriage records in my hand, completely and utterly speechless. The rental girl beside me just sighed in pity. Mr. Lin, if you're already a married man, why did you even pay to hire me? She dropped a quick, the deposit is non-refundable, and absolutely bolted. I stood there frozen on the sidewalk, my brain short-circuiting. I haven't even held a girl's hand in my entire life, so how the hell am I already married? I looked down again at the official paper trembling in my grip. The guy in the photo was definitely me. As for the bride, her name was Shen Yuchu. She was absolutely stunning, but I had no idea who she was. Heart pounding, I whipped out my phone, snapped a quick picture, and fired it off to a secret contact with a pitch-black profile photo. Find out exactly who she is, I texted. They replied in seconds, received. Swallowing down my overwhelming confusion and burning frustration, I headed out. My beat-up electric scooter rattled its way into an obscenely luxurious villa district. The second I parked, I caught the maids whispering behind my back. Who is that guy? He's insanely handsome. Shh. Watch your mouth. That's the Lin family's dirty little secret, the unacknowledged bastard son. Years ago, his mother showed up at the front gates with a swollen belly, crying and demanding answers. That shameless old woman is always finding pathetic excuses to freeload off the Lin estate, but at least the kid knows his place. He moved out way back in middle school. Wonder what the hell brings him crawling back today. I frowned, swallowed the insult, and marched straight into the grand living room. My mother, Lu Li, was nervously pacing by the door. The moment she spotted me, she grabbed my arm and anxiously dragged me upstairs. Come pay your respects to your brother first. Oh, right. Did you get your marriage certificate sorted out? I replied with a deadpan stare. I got it. Good, she huffed. You need to remember your absolute bottom-tier place in this house. Shen Xin is your brother's fiancé now. A top-tier elite family like hers is entirely out of your league, you illegitimate mistake. Only your precious brother is worthy of a woman like that. A dark flicker of emotion flashed through my eyes. Shen Xin had obsessed over me for 4 straight years in college. Yet, the very day we graduated, she crawled right into my brother Lin Fan's bed. And my mother? She forcefully demanded that I marry some random girl instantly, just to violently kill any lingering connection I had with Shen Xin. It had always been like this. Ever since we were kids, whenever Lin Fan and I crossed paths or wanted the same thing, she would viciously demand that I back down without a fight. I looked at her with eyes made of ice. We had a deal. This is the absolute last time. I'm only doing this garbage to repay the debt of you giving birth to me. Lu Li waved me off impatiently. Yeah, I know. Stepping into Lin Fan's lavish room, he flashed a smug smile. Lin Yu, what a rare surprise. What brings you here? Before I could even open my mouth, my mother eagerly piped up. Look, Fan, Lin Yu actually got married today. Lin Fan faked a dramatic gasp. Wow, that was unbelievably fast. Who's the lucky girl? Is she even better than my Shen Xin? Lu Li let out a nasty sneer. As if that's even possible, you couldn't find a single soul in all of Haicheng with a higher status than Miss Shen. What kind of decent catch could a street punk like him possibly find? Notice how he didn't even have the guts to bring the girl here to meet us? He's probably terrified her cheap, shabby looks would blind your noble eyes. Lin Fan's voice dripped with a sour, mocking tone. Oh, come on, how could that be? Our Lin Yu is so devastatingly handsome. Otherwise, why would Shen Xin have chased him like a lost puppy for 4 whole years? My mother scoffed. What the hell is the use of a pretty face? With his pathetic status, only some desperate trash he scraped off the absolute bottom of the barrel would willingly marry him. Miss Shen just treated him like a disposable toy for a cheap thrill. Only a man of your incredible status is truly worthy of someone like her. The elegant aura and flawless beauty of the woman in my photo definitely didn't scream street trash, but I honestly couldn't be bothered to argue with these clowns. Right at that moment, Lin Fan finished buckling his expensive watch and went to slip on his custom leather shoes, but realized his tailored shirt was way too tight to bend over comfortably. He smiled faintly, casting a pitiful glance my way. Lu Li instantly shoved my shoulder hard. You useless thing! Are you completely blind? Your brother is clearly struggling. Get down there right now and help him put his shoes on. My eyes went dead cold. If you care so much, you can get on your knees and put them on for him yourself, she shrieked. Lin Yu, what kind of filthy attitude is that? Do you think you're a full-grown man now just because you snagged a cheap wife? You're still going to have to grovel and rely on the Lin family's money for the rest of your pathetic life. Lu Li raised her screeching voice to a fever pitch. If you don't kiss your brother's ass right now, one day you and your little wife will be begging for scraps at his feet. Besides, the Lin family gave you a life. You should be on your hands and knees begging to work like a dog for us. Before I could unleash the fiery retort burning on my tongue, my so-called father, Lin Jianan, suddenly loomed in the doorway. A massive VIP is arriving any minute. What the hell is all this shouting about? Lu Li immediately flipped the switch, whining like a victim. It's this ungrateful little brat. He got his marriage certificate today, and suddenly he thinks he's too good to respect his own mother. Lin Jianan narrowed his cold eyes at me. You actually got married? Why didn't you just let the family arrange a proper match for you? Do you have the official certificate on you? Hand it over, let me see it. Faced with this unfamiliar father's extremely sudden burst of concern, I hesitated for a second before pulling the printed document out of my bag. But before I could even blink, Lu Li viciously snatched it right out of my hands. Let me see what kind of street punk your wife actually is, I thought with a smirk. Meanwhile, Lin Fan asked curiously, Dad, who is coming? Why are you so nervous? Thinking of that VIP, Lin Jianan's face instantly lit up with deep respect. He excitedly blurted out a single name, Shen Yuchu. Hearing that name, my blood ran cold. I froze instantly. Seeing our totally confused expressions, Lin Jianan puffed out his chest and explained with a proud smirk. It is perfectly normal that you don't know her. She is incredibly mysterious. Even I haven't met her in person yet. She is Shen Xin's aunt. At only 28 years old, she has already become the absolute, true head of the Shen family. Lu Li gasped in sheer shock. Wait, then wouldn't she be an even better match than Shen Xin, the actual head of the family? That is way better than just some eldest granddaughter. Lin Jianan immediately snapped. What absolute nonsense are you spouting? Miss Shen is already married. Hearing that, I narrowed my eyes. Married? If the name on that mysterious marriage certificate is really hers, then it seems Shen Yuchu should know exactly what is going on with me. Lu Li looked visibly disappointed. Who could her husband possibly be, to actually be luckier than our precious Xiao Fan? Lin Jianan frowned in deep thought. I honestly don't know. Rumor has it that neither she nor her husband like socializing at all. I just wonder why she is visiting us in person today. Lu Li spoke up decisively. It must be because Xiao Fan is so incredibly outstanding. He definitely caught the Shen family's attention. After proudly saying that, she forcefully shoved the unread printed document right back into my hands, grabbed Lin Fan's hand with a wildly excited look, and sneered down at me. Looking at her doting on him like this, she cared way more about him than Madame Lin, his supposed actual mother. At that exact moment, the butler rushed upstairs to urgently remind them that the legendary Shen family was arriving any second. Hearing this, Lin Jianan scrambled to hurry downstairs. As he brushed right past me, he casually tossed out, "You haven't been home in a long time. Stay for a wedding toast before you leave." I just nodded in quiet agreement. I desperately wanted to stay and see exactly who this Shen Yuchu really was. Back inside the room, Lu Li stared at Lin Fan, who was preparing to marry a wealthy heiress with absolute, uncontrollable stars shining in her eyes. Over 20 years ago, if Madame Lin, Li Xia, had not suddenly appeared in the picture, the one marrying Lin Jianan would have actually been Lu Li. She absolutely despised Li Xia. So, to take her twisted revenge, she gave birth on the exact same day and swapped their 2 babies at the hospital. And now, her actual biological son, Lin Fan, had become the golden young master of the Lin family. Meanwhile, I, the true young master, became the despised, worthless, illegitimate son. After heading downstairs, I leaned back into the dark shadows by the staircase, staring intently toward the entrance, quietly waiting for the mighty Shen family's arrival. I don't know how much time passed, but eventually, Madame Lin Li Xia slowly walked down the stairs, heavily supported by a maid. She was wearing a beautiful purple chipao. She looked terribly thin and frail, yet she still exuded a deeply scholarly and elegant aura. The maid whispered anxiously, "Madam, your health is so poor right now. You really shouldn't have come down. Madame Lin coughed weakly and shook her head. No. I simply cannot miss such an important day for Xiao Fan. I looked at her fragile back, my eyes welling up with a deep, aching sense of longing for a true mother's love. It was painfully ironic, really. In this cold Lin family, she was my only real source of warmth. Whenever I was little, Lu Li would constantly starve me as punishment. Once, after Madame Lin caught her doing it, she secretly started leaving food for me out in the garden at the exact same time, every single day. She faithfully did that for 12 straight years. If it weren't for Madame Lin's quiet kindness, I probably would have given up on my life a long time ago. Watching her walk further away, hearing her painful occasional coughs, I furrowed my brows in deep worry. Just then, a sudden, loud commotion broke out at the main door. The legendary Shen family had finally arrived. Lin Jianan and Madame Lin respectfully greeted them at the entrance. After politely exchanging a few quick pleasantries, they stepped aside to make way. A massive group of intimidating people marched grandly through the door. I instantly spotted Shen Yuchu at a single glance. Her face was somehow even more breathtakingly beautiful than in the photo. Her aura was absolutely freezing and razor sharp. Suddenly, sensing my intense gaze, she sharply turned and looked right over at me. Her cold, piercing stare made my heart violently skip a beat. I desperately tried to read the hidden emotion in her eyes, but Shen Yuchu casually withdrew her gaze and looked away. This totally left me baffled. With a blank reaction like that, did she actually know me or not? Lin Jianan smiled brightly and quickly began to flatter her. Miss Shen, where is your husband today? Did he not come with you? As soon as he asked that, I swear I felt Shen Yuchu secretly glance right at me again. It is inconvenient for him, she replied coldly. Just like that, the crowd eagerly escorted her toward the VIP reception room. And Shen Xin, the girl who had obsessively chased me for 4 years, followed right behind her, wearing a stunningly elegant dress. She looked far more mature and composed than she ever did back in college. She didn't even notice me in the shadows, just absent-mindedly chatting away with Lin Fan. I was standing there quietly minding my own business when Lu Li suddenly grabbed my arm tight. She lowered her voice maliciously and scolded, Lin Yu, what the hell are you still doing lurking around here? Have you still not given up on Shen Xin? Let me make this clear, you loser, she is your sister-in-law now. I aggressively shook her hand off with a cold, mocking sneer. Relax. I have absolutely zero interest in being the other man. Mr. Lin specifically asked me to stay for a wedding toast. Ever since I was old enough to understand my miserable place in this family, I have always coldly called Lin Jianan Mr. Lin. Lu Li viciously gritted her teeth in pure anger. That was just him being polite to a stray. And you actually took it seriously? I see you really don't know your own pathetic worth. On a massive occasion like today, even I wouldn't dare step out and humiliate the Lin family. So tell me, does a worthless, illegitimate son like you actually think you deserve a seat at our table? Get the hell out of here right now. I frowned, my patience wearing dangerously thin. Just as I opened my mouth to fire back, I caught sight of Shen Yuchu slipping out toward the balcony to take a phone call. So, I completely brushed off my annoying relative, spun around on my heel and quietly followed her outside. Just as I sneaked up behind Shen Yuchu, she ended her call and whipped around. Her stunning eyes locked onto mine, but they were absolutely freezing cold. I stopped dead in my tracks, meeting that incredibly dangerous gaze head on. The corner of my mouth curled up into a smirk and I tested the waters, calling out, "Hey there, wifey." Yet, her eyes didn't thaw one bit. I stared straight at her beautiful face, carefully watching for any sign of a reaction, but the moment that intimate title left my lips, the terrifying chill radiating off her body only intensified. She glared right through me without a single ripple of emotion, then coldly turned her back, fully ready to walk away. I quickly lunged forward, firmly blocking her escape path. "Wait, you seriously don't know me?" I asked. Shen Yuchu just looked down her nose at me with pure condescension. "Move out of my way," she snapped. "Am I supposed to know who you are? Listen here, sir, I am a married woman. Please have some self-respect. I'm incredibly busy right now." The ridiculous irony. This woman clearly had zero clue who I was, yet here she was claiming to be married. Seriously, could the Civil Affairs Bureau have completely botched our registration info? Then may I ask, just who exactly is your husband? I pressed. "None of your business," she shot back, delivering another 4 painfully icy words. Without missing a beat, I whipped out the copy of our marriage certificate and shoved it toward her. "Miss Shen, the gorgeous woman smiling on this document, should be you, right?" I teased. Shen Yuchu's sharp gaze immediately dropped down, landing dead center on the groom's name. She let out a scoffing laugh and mocked, "Mr. Lin, paying for an original copy really isn't that expensive now, is it? If you're going to go through the trouble of forging official documents, you should really try to be at least a little bit professional about it." With that brutal dismissal, she didn't even bother returning to the reception room. Instead, she strode briskly right through the garden, heading straight for the parking lot. I chased right after her, desperate to clear this entire mess up, but two massive bodyguards slammed into my path. I was forced to shout at her retreating back, "Miss Shen, I swear this certificate is 100% real. If you still don't believe me, go check it yourself with the Civil Affairs Bureau." But Shen Yuchu just slipped into her sleek luxury car and sped straight off without a backward glance. Only her cold-faced personal assistant stayed behind. Defeated, I dragged myself back to the grand living room, only to bump chest first into Lin Fan. Of course, that jerk had happened to catch me supposedly pestering the great Shen Yuchu. A malicious glint flickered in his eyes, but he played it perfectly. Lin Han rushed over, putting on a show of total panic. Why did Miss Shen just storm out? Did we somehow fail to host her properly? Lin Fan clenched his fists, faking a hesitant, apologetic tone. Well, I actually just saw Lin Yu harassing Miss Shen out there. She left looking incredibly furious. Her assistant even left a pretty nasty message, he added. She explicitly said, "You really need to discipline your family members much better." Honestly, with Lin Yu acting like such a street rat, won't the powerful Shen family think we completely lack proper upbringing? Hearing this, Lin Han's face instantly turned livid with rage. Meanwhile, I was already outside, aggressively riding my busted electric scooter, but I had completely lost track of her car. Just as I was groaning in frustration over letting my runaway bride slip through my fingers, my phone suddenly buzzed in my pocket. I snatched it up, and a crisp female voice immediately came through the speaker. "Boss, I've got all of Shen Yuchu's private background info right here. It turns out this Shen Yuchu is actually the legitimate second daughter of the Shen family's old master. The underground rumors claim she's absolutely cold-blooded and totally ruthless. That's exactly why she was exiled abroad at such a young age. Honestly, everyone in the city thought the entire Shen Empire would just be handed over to the eldest son, Shen Xin's father. Absolutely no one expected this exiled princess to suddenly pop back into the country just last week. I still don't know what kind of terrifying, cutthroat methods she used, but she somehow forced the old master to step down and directly seized total control of the entire Shen group. I frowned, feeling a headache building. Find out her private contact info and get me her daily schedule. I'll have to go hunt her down later. Hanging up the phone, I heavily rubbed my throbbing temples. This whole mess was rapidly turning into a giant nightmare. With someone wielding Shen Yuchu's crazy level of wealth and status, just getting in the same room as her definitely wasn't going to be a walk in the park. I really shouldn't have run my big mouth today. Calling her wifey right to her face just pissed her off and gave her the perfect excuse to bail on me. With a heavy sigh, I kick-started my beat-up little scooter and slowly rumbled my way back home. Leaving the bright lights and noisy chaos of the city centre far behind, I finally arrived at the rundown urban village out in the dirt-cheap suburbs. Ever since I packed my bags and moved out of that toxic Lin family estate back in middle school, I didn't exactly have a fortune to my name, so I could only afford to rent a super cranky old house out here in the slums. Later on, I just got used to the quiet struggle and never bothered moving. Just as I banked the corner to my sad little house, an old lady, easily in her 80s or 90s, suddenly darted out of nowhere from the side of the road. I slammed down hard on the brakes, skidding and barely missing her by a hair. For a split second I groaned, thinking it was some classic street insurance scam. But then I quickly noticed the old lady was dressed pretty decently, with a bright, obvious tag hanging loosely around her fragile neck. It had an emergency contact number scrawled right on it, with a frantic little note at the very bottom. "If this elderly person is found wandering lost, please call this number immediately. A very hefty cash reward will be given." It was heartbreakingly obvious that the poor dear suffered from Alzheimer's. I didn't hesitate. I instantly whipped out my phone and started punching in the digits on the tag. However, out of nowhere, the dazed, confused old lady standing in front of me lunged forward and grabbed my wrist tight. Suddenly, her clouded eyes completely lit up. "Grandson-in-law! Oh, you're my dear grandson-in-law," she cheered. My mouth violently twitched in pure shock. I mean, come on, I've been chronically single for 22 whole years. Just how on earth did I suddenly end up scoring yet another mysterious wife today? I honestly found the whole situation hilariously absurd, so I just chuckled and casually played along. All right, Grandma, then tell me. Just who exactly is this beautiful granddaughter of yours? What's her name? Oh, right. Her family name is Shen, she stammered excitedly. Shen what, Grandma? Shen who? I coaxed. Sadly, the full name she had just miraculously remembered completely vanished into thin air the very second it left her trembling lips. The sweet old lady suddenly looked incredibly anxious, frantically opening and closing her mouth like a fish out of water, but her foggy brain just wouldn't let the right words out. Hey, don't worry about it, Grandma. It's totally okay if you can't remember right now, I said gently, giving her arm a comforting squeeze before I went ahead and finally placed the phone call. Little did I know, at that exact same moment, on a bustling street not too far away, my runaway bride, Shen Yuchu, was sitting in the back of a luxurious Bentley, her stunning face shrouded in absolute dark gloom. Beside her, Lu Chang, her right-hand man, didn't even dare to breathe too loudly. It was my negligence that allowed the old madam to wander off, he stammered. Shen Yuchu didn't say a single word, but her entire body radiated an absolute freezing chill. The old madam is usually in a daze most of the time. Lu Chang continued, trembling. Who would have thought she'd suddenly have a moment of complete clarity today, send all the staff away, and sneak right out? We only found out after checking the security footage that she actually hopped on a bus to the suburbs all by herself. That area is completely run down, and most of the streets don't even have cameras installed. We can only do a grid search to find her. Just as the panic peaked, Shen Yuchu's phone suddenly rang. She snatched it up and answered immediately. Through the receiver, my perfectly calm, relaxed voice echoed back. Hello there. The elderly lady from your family is currently in my hands. Hearing this, the atmosphere inside the luxury car instantly dropped below zero. Everyone sprang into chaotic action. One bodyguard immediately reached for his radio to call the police. While Lu Chang frantically started tracking the signal source of the call, Shen Yuchu's eyes narrowed into sharp daggers. Her voice was pure ice. How much money do you want? I'm just kidding. I chuckled. I just wanted to tell you guys to take way better care of your elderly in the future. Then, I casually rattled off the address and hung up the phone. Minutes later, her convoy screeched to a halt at the location I gave them, but I was already long gone. Only a single police officer was standing there, patiently waiting with the old lady. Shen Yuchu rushed over. Grandma, how on earth did you end up all the way out here? The old madam just smiled mysteriously. I came to find my grandson-in-law, of course. He lives right around here, you know. Shen Yuchu froze. Grandma, there is no grandson-in-law. Impossible. I literally just saw him, she insisted. That heartless little brat handed me right over to the police and just left me here. Oh, right. Hand me your phone for a second, dear. Confused, Shen Yuchu handed over her smartphone. The old lady happily opened the call log, found my recent number, and carefully wrote it down in her little pocket notebook. She beamed with absolute joy. Finally, I have my precious grandson-in-law's contact info. Early the very next morning, I received an urgent call from my university advisor, Professor Wen. But as soon as I stepped foot into his office, my stomach dropped. Lin Fan and Lu Li were sitting right there. Lin Fan and I both attended the prestigious Harqing University. He always prided himself on being the golden boy, the ultimate top student. To avoid stealing his precious thunder, I deliberately chose the most obscure major on campus, energy and power engineering. But miraculously, the new energy sector suddenly boomed 2 years ago. Seeing the dollar signs, Lin Fan immediately transferred majors, becoming my annoying classmate all over again. Lin Fan being here was somewhat normal, but why the hell was Lu Li, my so-called mother, here too? Just as I was wondering this, I noticed Professor Wen looking dead serious. Lin Yu, he sighed heavily. Your recommendation for graduate school, it has been completely revoked. Your mother stated that your character and background are improper, and that you simply don't meet the moral requirements for the recommendation. Is there some horrible misunderstanding between you and your mother? Professor Wen pleaded. Hurry up and apologize to her. You have such a promising future ahead of you. Don't ruin it all over a stupid moment of anger, Lin Fan suddenly chimed in, oozing fake sympathy. Professor Wen, Lin Yu's mother is only doing this for his own good. He turned his smug face to look at me. You offended Miss Shen. And Miss Shen put out the word that she wants you to disappear from Haicheng entirely. It took me a split second to realize that this Miss Shen was actually Shen Yuchu, but I only exchanged a couple of casual sentences with her on the phone. Besides, before she left the area yesterday, she didn't even seem angry at all. It was obviously Lin Fan who was blowing things totally out of proportion, as usual. While my mind raced, Lin Fan strutted right up to me. "Lin Yu, here is the plane ticket we generously bought for you. Mother wants you to go abroad and lay low for a while. Otherwise, even the mighty Lin family won't be able to protect you from her wrath." A cold hint of mockery flashed in my eyes. Protect me? Weren't they just terrified that I would drag their precious Lin family down with me? Seeing that I wasn't taking the ticket, Lin Fan smugly pulled out a bank card. "Oh, are you worried about not being able to survive out there in the big bad world abroad? There's 50,000 yuan loaded on this card. This is my own personal money, just for your living expenses. Use this for now, and I'll send you more once I get my next allowance from Mom." The Grand Young Master of the wealthy Lin family only has a measly 50,000 yuan to his name? I honestly found it hilarious, but right at that moment, Lu Li violently snatched the bank card right out of his hand. "Lin Fan! What on earth are you doing?" she shrieked. The Lin family buying this ungrateful brat a plane ticket is already more than generous. She glared at me with pure disgust, barking a command. "Pack your pathetic things and go abroad immediately. I've already processed your official withdrawal from the university." I didn't flinch. I just looked at her with ice-cold eyes. "And what exactly gives you the right to make life decisions for me?" "Because I am your mother," she snapped back. "Besides, with your atrocious grades, you'd probably struggle just to graduate anyway. You might as well get out there and start working early like a dog to make some actual money." Professor Wen couldn't take it anymore and finally spoke up. "Lin Yu's mother? You have completely misunderstood his situation. During his time here at school, Lin Yu has been—" Before he could even finish his sentence, Lu Li rudely cut him right off. "Professor, please. You don't need to speak up for this failure. Don't I know exactly what kind of person he is? Isn't he only trying to go to grad school just because Lin Fan is doing it? He should take a long, hard look in the mirror and see what kind of useless trash he really is. What right does he have to even compare himself to my Lin Fan?" Professor Wen choked on his words, turning to look at Lin Fan in absolute bewilderment. "Wait. I recall you didn't get a recommendation, Lin Fan. Nor did you even take the graduate entrance exam," the professor stated. Lin Fan just smiled with sickening modesty. "Oh, I'm taking the special recruitment route," he bragged softly. Seeing the professor's inquiring look, he feigned complete humility. "I'm actually working with Dr. Yu. Dr. Yu's latest clean energy fuel research was a massive success, securing a groundbreaking patent. Because of this breakthrough, he was officially awarded the prestigious title of Doctor. Listening to this, I was internally floored. Dr. Yu? Since when did I ever agree to specially recruit Lin Fan just to repay Madame Lin's so-called kindness? The truth was, I had been using the alias Dr. Yu all these years to secretly provide high-level technical support for the Lin family's entire corporation. I had even fabricated a fake backstory about being a sponsored student just to stay off the radar. Yet, right in front of me, Lin Fan continued to spin his outrageous lies. He bragged, "My mum sponsored Dr. Yu's education back in the day. So, after Dr. Yu finished his studies, he sought out our family, claiming my mum was his absolute savior. For all these years, he has been single-handedly providing the technical backbone for our company. He definitely won't refuse a single request from me." Professor Wen bought every word of this garbage and eagerly asked where this mythical Dr. Yu was currently working. I heard Lin Fan confidently reply, "The Dean is actually going to invite Dr. Yu to teach right here at our university." Hearing this, Professor Wen was absolutely overjoyed. He turned to me, his eyes gleaming with hope. "Lin Yu, your entire research direction is exactly the same as Dr. Yu's. When the time comes, I'll personally introduce you to him. If Dr. Yu is willing to put in a good word for you, maybe there is still hope for your graduation recommendation." Lin Fan feigned a look of deep concern. "Professor Wen, is that really a good idea? The Shen family is the wealthiest in Haicheng, and they allocate massive research funding to our school every single year. Dr. Yu is incredibly sought after right now. If Dr. Yu is willing to step in, the university will definitely side with him," Lin Fan said with a smirk. "But Dr. Yu is only doing all this out of deep respect for my mom. If he were doing it just for me, he would absolutely spare no effort to help us out. But Lin Yu, here is my dad's illegitimate son, and he constantly stands in direct opposition to my mum. Lin Yu, how about I go beg Dr. Yu on your behalf? I just sneered coldly and completely refused. Right now, Lin Fan looked like nothing more than an absolute clown. I turned to Professor Wen and said, Professor, you know me better than that. I never really wanted to go to grad school anyway. My so-called mother, Luli, curled her lips in disgust. Don't even waste your breath on him. You severely offended Miss Shen, and you still delusionally think you can find a decent job in Hai Cheng? Keep dreaming, you little rat. Professor Wen fired back, I refuse to believe that anyone can truly cover the sky with one hand in Hai Cheng. Lin Yu, if you really cannot find a job, you can always come work as my personal assistant. Professor Wen was completely furious at them, but he turned to me with such a warm, gentle tone that it genuinely melted the ice around my heart. Professor, there is just a tiny misunderstanding between Miss Shen and me. Everything will be perfectly fine once I clear it up with her. You really do not need to worry. Seeing this supportive exchange, Lin Fan clenched his fists tightly, his voice dripping with pure, toxic sarcasm. Lin Yu, are you seriously going to go pester Miss Shen again? She is already a married woman. It is honestly pathetic and disgusting for you to keep acting like this. Sure enough, hearing that, Luli instantly flared up in a blind rage. She immediately lunged forward and slapped me viciously across the face. I stared at Luli in absolute disbelief. I never actually expected her to strike me, right here, in front of Professor Wen. But Luli did not look guilty in the slightest. Instead, pointing a furious finger right at my nose, she cursed. I haven't seen you in just a few short years, and it seems you have completely forgotten the rules of our house, you little bastard. Apologize to your brother right this second, and promise me you will never go near the Shen family again. The remaining warmth in my eyes slowly died, leaving behind only a freezing, lethal glare. It seems she had completely ignored what I told her just the other day, that she was crossing the line for the very last time. She didn't take my warning to heart at all. Does this woman seriously still think I am that submissive, ignorant little boy who treated Lin Fan like absolute royalty? Since basic reasoning clearly doesn't work with a monster like her, then they cannot blame me for showing absolutely zero mercy. Lin Fan watched the whole scene unfold from the sidelines, a sick surge of smugness rising in his chest. When we were kids, I used to always bow and scrape before him. I never dared to talk back when I was brutally scolded, and I never dared to fight back when I was mercilessly beaten. Later, after I finally moved out and we met again in college, even though I still looked like a poor, pathetic loser to him, I actually dared to stand up straight in his presence. He probably thought that going a few years without a beating meant I'd forgotten my place, and today he was thrilled to let Luli teach me a painful lesson. Just as Lin Fan was relishing these thoughts, he saw me slowly walking up to him. Just as the arrogant corners of his lips began to curl up into a victor's smile, fully expecting me to bow my head and apologize to him, I suddenly looked up and smashed a vicious, bone-crushing punch right into the center of his smug face. Lin Fan's head spun violently, his mind going completely blank from the explosive impact. Luli roared like a wild beast and charged aggressively right at me. Lin Yu, how dare you hit him? I slowly turned my head toward her, my entire body radiating a terrifying, murderous aura. Luli froze dead in her tracks, completely paralyzed by the sheer terror in my eyes. What are you doing, you ungrateful wretch? I am your mother. Are you going to lay your hands on me too? My voice came out like pure, cutting ice, clearly enunciating every single word. Since you completely fail as a mother, do not blame me for being unfilial as a son. From this exact moment on, you will stop dictating my miserable life. If you ever try to do anything to me again, I promise you, I will return double the pain onto your precious Lin Fan. Withdrawing my lethal gaze, I bowed deeply to Professor Wen, sincerely thanking him for taking such good care of me these past 4 years. I softly promised him that once my chaotic matters were settled, I would definitely come back. After dropping that bomb, I turned on my heel and walked out without a second of hesitation. It wasn't until my figure completely disappeared from the room that Luli slowly snapped out of her terrified trance. At that exact moment, I had just walked out of the towering university gates when my phone buzzed. It was Gu Yu calling. Boss, I dug up absolutely everything. I finally know exactly why Shen Yu-Chu is claiming to be married, yet somehow has no idea who you actually are. On the surface, the ultra-rich Shen family looked absolutely untouchable and completely glorious. But behind closed doors, a massive, cutthroat war for power had been raging for years. The old master clearly played favorites, practically dying to hand the entire empire over to his eldest son's side of the family. That meant Shen Yuchu, the brilliant youngest daughter, was constantly pushed down and mercilessly suppressed at every turn. A few years back, the old man even tried to force her into a political marriage with some totally useless, unreliable guys. It sparked a massive, explosive uproar back then. The family feud was incredibly toxic until Shen Yuchu suddenly dropped a nuke, announcing she had already secretly married some absolute nobody with an ordinary background. That wild bombshell finally forced everyone to back off. But honestly, speaking of this so-called husband of hers, things get pretty damn interesting. This mystery guy has literally never shown his face in public, and he definitely hasn't attended a single one of the ultra-fancy Shen family banquets. To sum it all up, there's only one logical truth. Gua deliberately dragged out his words, totally trying to build up the suspense. But honestly, before he could even reveal the big answer, I had already pieced it all together. Enough with the dramatics. Did you manage to find her schedule and contact info? I demanded. Gua choked on his dramatic pause, then sheepishly mumbled, I'll send you her schedule for the next few days in a bit. But man, I completely struck out on finding her personal phone number. It's fine, I replied. I'll just go intercept her in person. For someone of Shen Yuchu's insane status, her personal number is heavily classified. It's totally normal that you couldn't hack it. Gua instantly went into full gossip mode. Dude, she's constantly surrounded by a literal army of bodyguards. She's not going to be easy to get close to. So, are you planning to go in swinging? Or are we keeping a super low profile for now? A completely roguish smirk slowly curled across my lips. Cut to the main entrance of the massive Shen Group headquarters. I casually straightened out my courier uniform, gripped a package tight, and confidently strode right up to the front desk. Hey there. I've got a highly important package for Miss Shen, I told the receptionist, and it absolutely requires her personal signature. After the receptionist nervously called up to the elite secretary's office, I was finally given the green light to head upstairs. I stepped into the hyper-exclusive private elevator and rode it all the way up to the top floor, the 88th floor. The second I stepped out of the elevator, the insane view totally opened up. The entire secretarial department, packed with over 100 people working frantically, existed for one sole purpose: to serve Shen Yuchu. I casually followed the elite secretary who came out to receive me, smoothly making my way right to the massive CEO's office. I gave the heavy door a firm knock, and a surprisingly pleasant voice called out from inside, "Come in!" Just as I thought I was actually going to see Shen Yuchu without a single hitch, a shadow suddenly blocked my path. "Stop right there," Lu Chang scowled deeply, completely sizing me up with pure disgust. "Mr. Lin, why the hell is it you?" Lu Chang's face looked absolutely furious. He clearly still remembered how I had relentlessly confronted Shen Yuchu at the Lin family estate just yesterday. Back then, Shen Yuchu hadn't even bothered to waste her breath dealing with me. Yet here I was today, actually having the massive audacity to disguise myself as a lowly courier, just to show up at her front door and pester her all over again. He immediately waved over 2 massive bodyguards. What the hell is going on here? Do you guys just not verify identities anymore and let any random stray dog wander up to the executive floor? Throw this trash out immediately. My expression didn't shift even a millimeter. Whoa, what exactly is the meaning of this? Does the almighty Shen Group seriously look down on us hard-working couriers? Lu Chang sneered viciously. Wow, you really know how to play the desperate victim, don't you? We respect every legitimate profession, but are you seriously trying to pass yourself off as a courier? Let's see your courier ID then. But right as the words left Lu Chang's mouth, a totally legit work ID was shoved directly into his smug face. His arrogant expression instantly froze. Don't even try to tell me you just registered for this today. The work ID sitting right in front of him was flipped open, clearly revealing the official registration date. Lu Chang was completely stunned. 8 years ago? You're actually a real courier, I smirked. What? Can't a hard-working guy do a little work-study program? I stretched lazily and boldly called out toward the inner room. Miss Shen, can you please come out and cooperate with my delivery work now? That same melodious voice floated out from inside the massive office. Let him in. I instantly shot Lu Chang the most deliciously provocative glare I could muster. Seeing that he looked like he was about to literally blow a gasket, I casually bypassed him and swaggered right into the room. Shen Yuchu's private office was completely decked out in a minimalist, ultra-luxury style, which honestly made the massive place feel totally devoid of any real warmth. After elegantly signing off on the urgent document in her hand, the legendary Shen Yuchu finally slowly looked up at me. Her stunning, incredibly bright eyes revealed absolutely zero emotion, just pure ice. I simply tapped my finger on the delivery slip. "Miss Shen, I need you to sign right here." Her piercing gaze lingered heavily on me for a long, tense second. Then, she slowly picked up a sleek pen to sign, and right at that exact moment I suddenly dropped an absolute bombshell. "So, Miss Shen, you're not actually married at all, are you?" The stunning woman's pen instantly completely froze on the paper. She slowly looked back up, her absolutely icy gaze completely locking right onto mine. I knew it. I had guessed completely right. "Look, when you're registering your marital info down at the Civil Affairs Bureau, you literally have to fill out all your highly personal details by hand. There is absolutely no way a massive clerical mistake like that could ever be made." Yet, Shen Yuchu had very publicly claimed to be happily married. And despite all that, she clearly didn't recognize me at all. After Juwei's deep dive investigation, the only totally logical truth left was that to stop her toxic family from forcing her into a political marriage, Shen Yuchu completely fabricated a fake, invisible husband. She had literally never even stepped foot inside the Civil Affairs Bureau, which is exactly why she had absolutely no clue that we were actually legally married. I took a deep breath and leaned in. "Seriously, Miss Shen, I know what I'm about to say sounds completely unbelievable, but we are truly, legally married." Shen Yuchu slowly sat up straight in her leather chair, a faint, mocking hint of sheer amusement suddenly appearing on her flawless face. "Mr. Lin, please don't waste your breath. Even if I were actually unmarried, I would never, ever marry you just to spite Shen Xin." I was actually slightly taken aback by that brutal shutdown. She clearly only knew about my messy past with Shenin and completely assumed I had just tracked her down for some petty revenge plot. That was exactly why she absolutely refused to believe a single word I was saying. I hurriedly tried to backtrack and explain, "Wait, no, I'm totally not looking for you because of Shenin. I want a divorce. I couldn't care less about your twisted little love affairs." Shen Yuchu cut me off, scribbled her name, and shoved the paper back into my chest. "Stop harassing me," she snapped, "or I won't hold back anymore." Hearing that, my blood boiled. "Haven't you already stopped holding back? You literally put out a hit to blacklist me from the entire city." Shen Yuchu frowned, her cold facade slipping. "When did I ever—" Before she could finish, her phone buzzed loudly. It was the custom ringtone for her grandma. She answered instantly, and her caretaker's frantic voice blasted through the speaker. "Miss Shen, the old madam is missing again." Panic flashed in Shen Yuchu's eyes, and she bolted out the door. I tried to chase her down to clear my name, but her lapdog, Lu Chang, blocked my path. "Mr. Lin, I strongly advise you to stop right there." Just like that, I was tossed out of the Shen Group building. But the moment I dragged myself back to my front door, I spun around and locked eyes with the sweet old lady from the other day. She was literally tiptoeing, sneaking around right behind me like a cartoon character. I just stared at her, totally helpless. Before I could even open my mouth, the tiny woman grabbed my wrist in a vice grip. "Grandson-in-law, don't you even think about abandoning me again?" 5 minutes later, inside my cramped, rented apartment, the old lady sat at my wobbly dining table, chugging down 3 glasses of water in a row. I rubbed my temples, completely exhausted. "Seriously, ma'am, I am really not your grandson-in-law." "Oh, yes you are." The stubborn little lady hugged her cup and gulped down a 4th glass. Realizing logic was totally off the table, I whipped out my phone and dialed the emergency contact from last time. It rang exactly once before a sharp "hello" came through the line. I froze. The woman's icy tone sounded way too familiar. But right as I was about to speak, the old lady pulled a ninja move and snatched the phone right out of my hand. Meanwhile, across town, Shen Yuchu was leading a massive search party. She looked like her usual Ice Queen self, but inside she was suffocating with panic. Grandma didn't just have Alzheimer's. At 87 years old, her frail body was already failing her. One wrong move, and it could be fatal. So when her phone lit up, she answered it like her life depended on it. Instead of tragedy, Grandma's hyperactive voice blasted through the speaker. "You little brat! Don't you dare come pick me up! I'm hanging out with my grandson-in-law." The caller ID flashed the number of that boy from last time. So, Grandma had wandered off to him again. Shen Yuchu's face darkened with frustration. "Where are you?" she demanded. "I'm not telling you." Grandma shot back. "You really think I can't find you if you don't tell me? You are not allowed to come looking for me, and don't you dare send your creepy goons to track me down either." Shen Yuchu massaged her temples, covered the mic, and whispered to the family doctor, "With her current condition, can we bring her back by force?" The doctor sighed and shook his head. "Absolutely not. The old madam's heart cannot handle that kind of stress right now. It is best we just play along. Besides, that young man from the other day seemed like a decent guy." Defeated, Shen Yuchu let out a heavy breath. She put the phone back to her ear, softening her tone. "Grandma, please. I still need to bring you your medication." "No need, I brought it with me," Grandma chirped. "Just sit tight and wait for me to kidnap my grandson-in-law and drag him home." With that utterly chaotic statement, the little old lady hung up the phone. She handed it back to me, beaming with absolute triumph. "Grandson-in-law, I took care of it," she cheered. My brain was short-circuiting. Seriously, what kind of deadbeat family just abandons their grandma like this? Who leaves a vulnerable old woman alone with a total stranger? I was just about to call the number back when my WeChat chimed. A friend request popped up, added via my phone number. The note simply read, "The old lady's granddaughter." Intrigued, I hit accept. The granddaughter instantly fired off a message. "Please take care of my grandma for a little while. Her health has been rapidly declining, and she cannot be agitated." I scoffed at the screen, my fingers flying as I drafted a cold, hard response. "Not my problem. This isn't a charity." But before I could even hit send, a weird clattering noise echoed from my kitchen. I sprinted over, only to find the old lady casually boiling eggs on the stove. I let out a breath. "Hey, if you're hungry, plain eggs aren't going to cut it." The little old lady turned to me, her wrinkled face breaking into the warmest, kindest smile I had seen in years. "Oh, grandson-in-law," she murmured softly. "If you roll a warm boiled egg over your cheek, it'll help that awful swelling go down." I completely froze. I hadn't even realized it myself. Earlier today, my own biological mother had viciously slapped me across the face. I acted like it didn't hurt. I acted like I didn't care. But the truth was, a suffocating layer of ice had wrapped around my heart, isolating me from the entire world. And in that one moment, a stranger's gentle words shattered that ice, bringing a stinging warmth to my eyes. Swallowing the lump in my throat, I glanced back down at my phone. The WeChat screen suddenly lit up, bright orange. A massive transfer of 300,000 yuan had just hit my account. The note read, "This is to cover her living expenses for 1 week. Let me know immediately if it is not enough." I stared at the draft in my chat box, slowly backspaced my cold rejection, and simply typed, "Fine." I had no idea why I was suddenly playing babysitter, but hey, I convinced myself it was just because the money was way too good to pass up. Meanwhile, back at the luxurious Lin family estate, Lin Fan sat with his own cheeks swollen red, a brutal handprint glaring on his skin. His mother, Lu, lowered her head with a venomous glare. "That little beast, Lin Yu, is just jealous that you are the one marrying Miss Shen," she hissed. "Just you wait until your father gets home. We will make him pay." He was ready to teach him a brutal lesson, but right at that moment, Lizia dragged her frail, sickly body down the stairs. Her voice was barely a whisper, yet her tone was completely unshakable. "Ling Yu is not that kind of person," she insisted. "You two must have done something to provoke him first." Seeing this, Lin Fan felt a flash of deep resentment, but he quickly swallowed his pride and changed the subject. "Could you invite Dr. Yu to be a mentor at Hai Chang University?" Madam Lin shut that down instantly. "Lin Fan, you cannot repay kindness with pure greed. Besides, Doctor, Yu has done more than enough for our family's company over the years." But Lin Fan wasn't surprised by her rejection at all. "Hai Chang University is the absolute best school around here," he argued. "Maybe Dr. Yu actually wants to go there himself. We could just help him make the connection with the school. Think of it as our way of repaying Dr. Yu for all his incredible help over the years." Madam Lin hesitated. It did make a bit of sense. She pulled out her phone and opened WeChat. "All right, I will ask him then." Lin Fan eagerly sat right beside her. Dr. Yu had done so much for their family. Whatever debt of gratitude he once owed had been paid off a long time ago. Shouldn't our family host a grand banquet for him? Wouldn't it be way better to ask him in person? Lin Fan pushed. After all, Dr. Yu never refused Madam Lin's requests. Linfen knew that as long as the doctor showed up, and he personally begged to be his grad student, Dr. Yu absolutely wouldn't refuse him. Madame Lin was finally persuaded. She sent a quick message to Dr. Yu on WeChat. Xiao Yu, do you have some time to come over to the house? When I saw that message pop up, my heart instantly leaped right into my throat. Why in the world would Madame Lin suddenly ask to meet? Could it be that her health was suddenly failing? Thinking back to Madame Lin's terrible coughing fits, a wave of intense anxiety washed over me. I shot up from my seat and bolted for the door, typing frantically. I am completely free. I will head over right now. But just as I was rushing out, her next WeChat message chimed in. No need to rush, she wrote. Are you working overtime this Saturday? I would really love to treat you to a nice casual meal. I let out a massive sigh of relief. Only then did I realize I had just been panicking out of pure, blind concern. Thinking back to the painful memory of being totally ostracized from the Lin family 10 years ago, a bitter smile touched my lips. After all these years, it really was about time we met face to face. I quickly texted back, I should be the one treating you. Saturday at 6 p.m, be there or be square. After hitting send, I dropped a pin for a restaurant location. As I backed out of the chat with Madame Lin, I noticed that Shen Yu-Chu had actually sent me a few messages too. The texts were just a long list of specific instructions on exactly how to take care of her grandma. Seeing this, I quietly crept closer to the bed and recorded a short, reassuring video for Shen Yu-Chu. Meanwhile, on a quiet street not too far away, 2 fully equipped, low-profile luxury vans were parked in the shadows. Inside one of them, Shen Yu-Chu was sitting on a plush sofa, typing away on her laptop. Suddenly, a WeChat notification chimed through the silence. She picked up her phone to look, and for the first time ever, that eternally unchanging iceberg face of hers actually showed a genuine trace of surprise. The family doctor sitting nearby immediately tensed up. Did something terrible happen to the old madam? He asked. Shen Yu-Chu just pursed her lips and silently handed him the phone to watch the video. In it, the old madam was lying peacefully on floral bedsheets, sleeping incredibly soundly. And it was only 9 p.m. Normally, if the old madam managed to fall asleep before 1 in the morning, it was considered a flat-out miracle. The doctor looked utterly astonished. The old madam really treats this boy differently. If we could just have him stay by her side all the time, her health would absolutely skyrocket. Shen Yu-Chu's gaze deepened into a dark, calculating stare, as if she was suddenly pondering a very interesting idea. The very next morning, I woke up to another message from Shen Yu-Chu. After exchanging a quick back and forth, it surprisingly gave her the warm feeling of chatting with an old, trusted friend. Out of nowhere, she asked, Can I come visit Grandma tonight? I replied instantly, Of course. You are always welcome here any time. I then shot her the exact address. Later that day, I was just waiting outside, completely bored out of my mind, when a suddenly familiar voice cut through the noise. I turned my head and locked eyes with a face I knew all too well. It was Shen Xin. In my memories, her face had always been so gentle and caring, but right now, she was glaring at me with pure, dark venom. Back in our college days, I had always been the quiet loner, while Shen Xin was the passionate, outgoing star. She had always stood firmly by my side. Honestly, she was pretty much the only real friend I ever had back then. But now, the air between us was suffocatingly awkward. I hesitated for a split second before asking, Did you need something? Shen Xin just sneered viciously. Linfen told me everything about your pathetic background. Why the hell did you hide it from me? She snapped. I acted like a total idiot, chasing a loser like you for 4 straight years. Was making a fool out of me fun for you? Hearing that, my heart felt like it was being crushed by a giant, invisible hand. I truly never expected that 4 entire years of deep friendship could be shattered into a million pieces this easily. I took a step back, instinctively trying to distance myself from her toxicity, but Shen Xin stepped right into my space, demanding, Don't you even have anything to explain to me? I just let out a bitter, empty chuckle. No. After dropping that single word, I turned on my heel to leave. If she was going to look down on where I came from, then there was absolutely zero point in pretending to be friends anymore. My cold, resolute attitude just made Shen Xin inexplicably, fiercely irritated. Seeing me walking further and further away from her, she panicked and grabbed my wrist without even thinking. You can't just leave, she yelled. I glanced back over my shoulder, my eyes dead. What else do you possibly want from me? Shenxin's face was tight with tension, a confusing rage flaring deep in her heart. She was clearly the one who had thrown me away first, so why did it suddenly feel like she was the one being totally abandoned? Then, breaking the silence, her mocking, arrogant voice rang out again. Look at you. You are still just working a sad little part-time job here. So you're still unemployed, huh? Why not just be my personal assistant? I yanked my arm out of her grip. I shot her a cold glare. I wouldn't be a good fit, but Shenxin wasn't taking no for an answer. It's easy work. I've got a place near the office. All you have to do is live there and take care of my daily needs. Is 50,000 a month enough for you? My blood ran freezing cold. You want me to be your side piece? Shenxin just sneered. Oh, you're definitely qualified for that, aren't you? I mean, your mother was a total homewrecker. Growing up around that trash, it's basically a family tradition for you. I'm sure you'd be a total pro. That was it. I shoved her hard, sending her crashing to the floor, and glared down at her. Shut your mouth. But instead of getting mad, she just brushed herself off and smirked. I'll give you some time to think it over. Come find me when you change your mind. Shenxin turned on her heel and walked away, leaving me there to let out a bitter, self-deprecating laugh. Later that night, Shen Yuchu actually got off work on time. She pulled up to a rundown apartment complex out in the suburbs. Holding a basket of fruit, she knocked on the door. Following the address on WeChat, she saw the old lady looking perfectly healthy, and then took a quick look around. It was just a tiny 60 square meter 2-bedroom place, but it was spotless and surprisingly cozy. Suddenly, the sound of a running shower echoed from the bathroom. Yuchu flinched and jerked her gaze away like she'd been shocked. The family doctor stepped up right behind her. He was about to walk inside, but she immediately blocked his path. Hand me the medkit and go wait in the car. Working quickly, Yuchu checked the old lady's blood pressure, blood sugar, and heart rate without a word. Maybe it was because the sweet old lady had slept so well, but all her vitals were absolutely perfect. She looked incredibly smug about it too. My darling grandson-in-law takes such wonderful care of me. Seeing this with her own eyes, Yuchu finally let out a sigh of relief. She darted another nervous glance at the bathroom door and quickly packed up her gear. Since you're perfectly fine, I'm going to head out. The old lady beamed. Oh, aren't you going to stay for dinner? My grandson-in-law is an amazing cook. Yuchu stiffened. No, that wouldn't be appropriate. Yuchu set down the medical kit on the table. I'll just leave this here for now. But the old lady rolled her eyes. Take that thing with you. My grandson-in-law doesn't even know how to use it. Plus, I don't want Dr. Xiaopang coming around. I want you to come check my vitals every single day. Yuchu was just about to argue when the shower in the bathroom suddenly shut off. She instantly shot up from her chair, grabbed the medkit, and practically bolted for the door. I'm leaving. I'll come back tomorrow. The second the front door slammed shut, I stepped out of the bathroom, fully dressed and drying my hair. Hey, where did your granddaughter go? She left. Said she'd just be in the way, the old lady huffed. She's just too uptight, always walking around with that grumpy look on her face. I chuckled. Is that why you don't like her? I'm sure she can change, but Grandma, you know I'm not actually your grandson-in-law, right? Yes, you absolutely are, I sighed, feeling totally helpless. After spending the last few days together, I realized this old lady was incredibly sweet. She'd agree with literally anything else I said, but she was impossibly stubborn when it came to this one delusion. A few days later, the sweet old lady suddenly announced she wanted to go back to her place to pack up some clothes. So, I texted her granddaughter for the address. But the second I opened the location drop, I totally froze. Unu Estate? Wait, isn't this the Shen family's main residence? It was literally the most famous, ultra-wealthy neighborhood in all of Haicheng. I figured the little old lady lived in one of the smaller, modest villas nearby. Never in a million years did I actually associate her with the insanely powerful Shen family. But when we pulled up to the destination, I found myself staring up at massive, antique black gates carved with incredible details. I hesitated. Grandma, is this really your house? The little old lady just blinked, looking totally relaxed, though her eyes were a bit hazy. Oh, grandson-in-law, I really can't remember. Helpless, I had no choice but to text her granddaughter again. She replied instantly, Stay right there. I'll be right out. A few minutes later, a high-end luxury car pulled up right in front of us. Lin Fan and Lu Yi stepped out of the back. They stormed right over to us. Lu Yi furrowed her brows in deep disgust. Lin Yu? It really is you. What the hell are you doing lurking around here? She was basically acting as a glorified nanny, tagging along with Lin Fan for his big visit to the Shen family. She had spotted someone pacing outside the Shen estate from down the road, but she never expected it to be me. Lin Fan glanced at the tightly shut iron gates. "Lin Yu, are you here to harass Miss Shen Yuchu again?" The moment those words left his mouth, Lu Yi screamed, "You absolute piece of trash! Do you have any idea what day it is? Get the hell out of here right now. If you end up ruining Lin Fan's engagement, I swear I will end you." Honestly, I was so utterly sick of these people, but the sweet old lady was standing right there. I really didn't want to start a massive screaming match in front of her. So I swallowed my annoyance and calmly said, "I'm just bringing this lady home. We took a wrong turn, that's all." Lin Fan immediately blurted out, "Wait, isn't that your broke wife's grandmother? How on earth could she possibly live in a neighborhood like this?" I shot back instantly. Why couldn't she? Beside him, Lu Yi just kept cursing at me. "Stop acting like your pathetic broke-ass wife's grandma could ever afford to breathe the air here," she glared viciously right at the little old lady. "Hey, old-timer, tell me, which villa do you actually live in?" Hearing his disrespectful tone, I frowned. I was just about to snap back when the little old lady suddenly stood up. "I remember now. I live right here. Grandson-in-law, come home with me." She grabbed my hand and started pulling me toward the massive main gates of the Shen family estate. We were still about 100 meters away from the entrance, but after taking barely 2 steps, Lin Fan opened his big mouth. "Lin Yu, you made up all those pathetic excuses, but aren't you just using this old lady as a shield to sneak into the Shen estate?" My footsteps paused. I cast a sharp, calculating look at the imposing Shen estate up ahead. Even though seeing these magnificent gates had given me some vague suspicions, I still couldn't connect the sweet, polite granddaughter on WeChat with the cold, ruthless ice queen Shen Yuchu. Maybe the little old lady had remembered wrong, but just as I was about to ask her again, Lu Li suddenly charged over like a maniac and lunged right at her. "I absolutely will not let you cause trouble for the Shen family." I was completely caught off guard. I shielded the little old lady with one arm and grabbed Lu Li with the other, shoving her away hard. "What the hell are you doing?" Lu Li stumbled backward from the force. The second she steadied herself, she immediately started screaming curses. "You ungrateful little wretch. You would actually hit your own mother over some crazy old hag? I am calling the cops." I ignored her screeching and quickly checked on the little old lady. The old lady had clearly never been cursed at like this in her life. Sure enough, she was trembling all over, completely consumed by anger. She pressed her hand hard against her chest, her frail body shaking uncontrollably. I hurriedly supported her weight and immediately pulled the quick-acting heart pills from her pocket. But when I popped the cap open, my stomach dropped. The bottle was completely empty. My pupils shrank in sheer panic. The old lady was in incredibly poor health. Unless it was an absolute life-or-death emergency, CPR just wasn't suitable for her fragile frame. It was best to use actual medication. I snapped my head toward those giant iron gates. The Shen family definitely had medicine inside. Even if the old lady wasn't a part of the Shen family, she was their neighbor. They wouldn't just stand by and watch her die. I scooped the old lady up into my arms, but Lin Fan grabbed my sleeve tightly. "Lin Yu, stop this right now. The Shen family is never going to let trash like you inside." He glared at the little old lady, a sick, dark glint flashing in his eyes. At that exact moment, I felt like I was going completely insane with rage. Monstrous fury boiled over in my eyes. I kicked him hard in the gut, sending him crashing to the dirt. But the very next second, my leg was trapped in a death grip. Lu Li sat slumped on the ground, clinging to my ankle with all her might, completely throwing away whatever dignity she had left. I was literally shaking with anger, but because I had to be so careful with the little old lady in my arms, I actually couldn't break free. Right then, a sleek black Bentley slowly pulled up. Shen Yuchu stepped out in heels and demanded sharply, "What exactly are you doing here?" Lin Fan hurriedly scrambled up and spoke. "Miss Shen, it is Lin Yu. He insists on dragging this dying old lady to the Shen estate just to extort money out of you. It is entirely my fault for not stopping him in time." Hearing this garbage, Shen Yuchu looked over, only to realize that the person in my arms was her own grandmother. Shen Yuchu's pupils contracted sharply, and she practically sprinted toward us. Her grandmother was the person she loved most in the world. The old lady's health had been rapidly deteriorating over the past few years. Shen Yuchu was clearly panicking to the absolute extreme. I didn't have time to explain the drama. I rushed to say, "The old lady is having a severe heart attack. She just ran out of her emergency medicine. If she gets her meds in time, she will be totally fine. Shen Yuchu pursed her lips tightly, took her grandmother from my arms, and rushed straight into the Shen estate without looking back. I couldn't even follow her inside because Lu Li was still clinging onto my leg like a parasite. Lin Fan was still somehow doubting the old lady's true identity. Lu Li finally let go of me, dusted herself off, and sneered mockingly. Is that what you were relying on? Is that why you bravely charged at the Shen estate with that pathetic old hag? At that moment, the massive Shen family gates creaked open. Shen Xin walked out. Lin Fan instantly put on a sickeningly flattering smile. Sister Shen Xin, you could have just waited for me in the parking lot. Why did you come all the way out to the front gate? Shen Xin forced a tiny bit of gentleness into her cold expression. I was worried you wouldn't find your way, since it is your very first time visiting. She then looked dead at me. Her fake gentleness instantly turned sinister. Lin Yu, are you standing here because you finally thought things through? I kept a dark, stony face and said absolutely nothing. If you figured it out, just give me a call. Who allowed you to come crawling to the Shen estate? Do you really think a worthless bastard like you can just stroll right through the Shen family gates? Shen Xin sneered loudly. But if you really want to go in and take a look around, I suppose I can allow it. Sister, you misunderstood! Lin Fan frantically interrupted. Lin Yu is just waiting for his wife's grandmother. The old lady just had a sudden heart attack, and Miss Shen Yuchu carried her inside for emergency medical treatment. Shen Xin's eyes suddenly turned bloodshot red. She gritted her teeth in pure jealousy. What wife? Lin Yu, who the hell is that woman? I looked at her with total mockery. Shen Xin, who my wife is, has absolutely nothing to do with you. How does it have nothing to do with me? I would love to see who would ever dare to marry you. Not without my permission, Lin Fan hurriedly chimed in. I actually heard from Lin Yu's mom that she is just some cheap, delinquent girl. Shen Xin clenched her fists until her knuckles turned white. You are really degrading yourself like this. Wow, a bastard and a delinquent. What a perfect match. Lin Fan sneered, eagerly adding fuel to the fire. Lin Yu, you must be pretty bitter about getting dumped. That's exactly why he keeps harassing Miss Shen Yuchu. Listening to their garbage, I just let out a cold, mocking laugh. Lin Fan, I shot back, you call yourself the young master of the Lin family, but is your brain stuffed with absolutely nothing but dirty tricks and cheap slander? Is there seriously nothing else up there? Hearing that, Lin Fan's smug face completely froze, his fists clenching in pure rage. Look, I know you're just throwing a tantrum to get back at me and sister Shen Xin, but Miss Shen Yuchu is already married. You really shouldn't be out here wrecking other people's homes. Hearing this absolute trash, Shen Xin completely exploded with blinding anger. She had actually been waiting for my call these past 2 days, arrogantly thinking that if I just softened up and begged for mercy, she might let me off the hook. Turns out, she thought I'd already found my next victim. The very thought of it made her furiously jealous. I knew it. Why else would your so-called wife's grandmother be passed out at my front door having a literal heart attack? You came here specifically to stalk my aunt. Lin Yu, how can you be this incredibly shameless? She was absolutely livid, screaming at the top of her lungs. Pointing a trembling finger right at my face, she barked at the guards. Take a really good look. Remember this trash's face and absolutely do not let him take a single step into the Shen estate. Lin Fan lowered his head, desperately trying to hide the incredibly smug smirk creeping onto his lips. After all, when it came to guarding the Shen family gates, Shen Xin still held half the authority. However, in the very next heartbeat, the heavy doors opened, and the Shen family's head butler stepped out from the main house. His sharp gaze swept over the chaotic crowd before stopping dead right in front of me. Mr. Lin Yu, Miss Shen Yuchu formally invites you inside. Lin Fan instantly froze like a deer in headlights. Shen Xin stood there completely dumbfounded. I just looked up with a faint, mocking smile, glancing playfully over at the stunned guards. So, am I allowed to go in now? The guards nervously peeked over at Shen Xin, then scrambled to throw the massive iron gates wide open without a second of hesitation. They knew perfectly well who actually held the real power in the Shen family. As I strolled straight into the grand estate, Shen Xin and her pathetic little group trailed bitterly behind me. Lu Li glared at me with absolute venom. Miss Shen Yuchu probably just wants you here, so you can finally pick up your crazy old grandmother. Once you grab her. She hissed. Be smart, and get the hell out immediately. Don't you even dare dirty the Shen family's expensive carpets." With those harsh words hanging in the air, the entire group stepped into the lavish living room, and with one glance they froze. Old Madam Shen was sitting upright, dead center in the absolute seat of honor on the sofa. The fiery little old lady immediately locked eyes and glared daggers right at them. "You wicked woman! Who the hell are you calling a beast?" The feisty old woman had already been changed into luxurious custom clothes, though her pale complexion still wasn't looking the greatest. Right beside her, Shen Yuchu sat radiating an aura of absolute freezing ice. Lu Li stood completely paralyzed, her jaw hitting the floor. Lin Fan's weak legs instantly gave out, and he nearly collapsed onto the floor in pure terror if Shen hadn't quickly caught him. "What on earth is wrong with you?" Shen gasped. Lin Fan's hands were violently shaking. He suddenly let out a forced, bitter laugh and stammered, "Lin Yu, why did you lie to me? You deliberately told us old Madam Shen was just your wife's grandmother. You totally set us up to disrespect the venerable old madam." I instantly felt a dozen heavy, highly suspicious gazes in the room sharply turned toward me. Lu Li quickly caught onto his desperate scheme. "You knew the old madam has dementia, yet you still dared to trick her. What kind of fools do you take the Shen family for? Get on your damn knees and apologize this instant." Hearing that, my eyes instantly darkened with cold fury. Were these scumbags seriously trying to pin all the blame on me? Lin Fan was desperately taking the chance to clear his own dirty name. What a pathetic, slimy little trick. Smash! A heavy porcelain teacup was violently hurled by the little old lady, hitting Lu Li dead on. The boiling hot tea inside splashed brutally all over her dress, but Lu Li was so utterly terrified she didn't even dare to scream. "You absolute bastards!" the old madam roared with staggering authority. "He is my very own grandson-in-law!" Trembling and enduring the burning pain of her blisters, Lu Li whimpered, "Old madam, you've been totally brainwashed by him. I am absolutely 100% certain his wife is just some common street delinquent. There's really no need to keep arguing about this. Why not just ask the actual person involved?" Shen's mother suddenly chimed in coldly from the sidelines. "Yuchu, is this nobody really your husband?" I stayed totally silent, locking eyes with Shen Yuchu. Then I heard the exact, crushing answer I was fully expecting. No. What a cold, completely ungrateful, backstabbing woman. A dangerous flash of anger immediately crossed my eyes. Lin Fan, on the other hand, looked like he'd just won the damn lottery. He immediately breathed a massive, trembling sigh of absolute relief. Lu Li smugly curled her lips into a nasty sneer. "I told you so. This entire mess was all Lin Yu's sick doing." I scoffed loudly and was just about to rip them to shreds when I heard the icy woman's voice ring out through the room again. Grandma simply mistook him for someone else. Because of that, I formally asked Mr. Lin Yu to step in and help take care of Grandma. For a long, suffocating moment, absolutely everyone in the room fell completely silent. No one ever expected the situation to suddenly develop this way. After a painfully long pause, Lin Fan lowered his head in fake guilt. "Oh, so that's how it really is. Lin Yu, why on earth didn't you just tell us the truth? If you had just been honest earlier, this massive misunderstanding would never have happened." Mr. Lin Fan, Shen Yuchu interrupted, leaning back elegantly on the plush sofa. Her posture looked entirely casual, but her overwhelming aura was incredibly intimidating, commanding absolute terror when she finally spoke. Hiding behind others and completely shirking all responsibility the moment things go wrong, is this pathetic display really how the Lin family educates its precious younger generation? Prompted by those cutting words, old Madam Shen immediately flared right back up. "Do you brats honestly think that just because my mind is supposedly slipping, I can't see right through your pathetic little parlor tricks? You make a massive mistake, show absolutely zero remorse, and then try to shift all the dirty blame onto others. You two are truly, deeply shameless." Old Madam Shen barked, looking directly and furiously at Shen. "Call off the damn engagement. I absolutely refuse to ever acknowledge this trash as my great-grandson-in-law." Lin Fan's entire body violently jolted as if he'd been struck by lightning. The incredibly lucrative marriage he had worked so desperately hard to secure couldn't just vanish into thin air like this. Panic-stricken, he quickly looked over at Shen, only to see the woman's once loving expression turn completely, brutally cold. Her eyes were completely glued to me. It was so obvious she was still reeling from the pure shock and furious disbelief of finding out I was already married. Lin Fan tightened his hands into white-knuckled fists. Hanging his head in total, crushing defeat, he slowly walked right up to Shen Xin. "Sister Shen Xin, this is entirely my fault," he muttered, sounding pathetic. "But don't worry, okay? Even if this whole engagement gets completely cooled off, I swear I'll still introduce you to that person I promised." That instantly snapped Shen Xin right back to reality. Oh, right, Lin Fan was supposed to be her golden ticket to meeting the legendary Dr. Yu. In the country's current new energy sector, Dr. Yu was an absolute powerhouse, practically unmatched. Panicking, she quickly turned and pleaded with old Madam Shen. "Great Grandma! Lin Fan just didn't know any better. Please, you have to forgive him. Besides, both of our families have already gone ahead and exchanged the betrothal gifts. It would be an absolute disaster to just call off the engagement right now." Old Madam Shen shot her a long, deeply piercing glare. Suit yourself, then. When it came down to it, her great-granddaughter's messy love affairs were a problem for her parents to deal with. The old lady didn't want to meddle any more than necessary, but Shen Xin's mother forced a bright, calculated smile. "Grandma, did you completely forget to hand over your special meeting gift?" Hearing that blatant money grab, old Madam Shen just dropped her gaze coldly. "I'll have someone transfer 180,000 to Shen Xin." Instantly, her mother's fake smile froze solid. "Wait, but didn't you promise before that you'd give the young couple 2% of the shares? You know, just in case they were feeling a little tight on cash after the big wedding." Look, if you were asking who the absolute wealthiest powerhouse in the entire Shen family was, it was without a doubt old Madam Shen. She originally came from a ridiculously wealthy family in Kyoto, brought in a massive personal dowry, and single-handedly controlled 20% of the Shen family's total shares. Shen Xin's greedy mother had been plotting for ages to use this convenient little marriage to squeeze a massive, life-changing fortune right out of the old lady. It was practically a done deal, but suddenly, the old madam had completely flipped the script. Old Madam Shen just stared right back at her with a chilling, half-amused smirk. "I am absolutely not satisfied with this pathetic excuse for a great-grandson-in-law, so no, I'm not giving you a single dime." Lin Fan's face instantly went ghost white. The sheer, crushing humiliation was almost too much for him to handle. There were dozens of gossiping servants scattered around the massive Shen estate, meaning word of this disaster would spread like absolute wildfire. By tomorrow, the entire city of Hen would know exactly how brutally he got rejected by the old madam. And in these ultra-wealthy elite circles, saving face was literally everything. Today, this feisty old madam had taken his precious dignity, thrown it on the floor, and ruthlessly stomped it to pieces. But honestly, the little old lady couldn't care less about his bruised ego. After dropping that massive bombshell, she reached out, grabbed me by the arm, and dragged both me and Shen Yuchu straight over to her private courtyard. Once there, she quickly made up some flimsy excuse to bail, ordering Shen Yuchu to take extra good care of her precious grandson-in-law, before practically sprinting away with her attendants. Just like that, in the literal blink of an eye, it was only me and Shen Yuchu left completely alone in the quiet courtyard under the dark, starlit sky. The two of us were just standing there, awkwardly side by side. Just as I was desperately trying to figure out how to break the awful silence, Shen Yuchu suddenly glared at me, her eyes practically dripping with thinly veiled disgust. "You are utterly shameless," she spat. Well, I wasn't about to just stand there and take that, so I stared right back at her, dead serious. "Silly girl," I shot back. Shen Yuchu's beautiful face turned absolutely livid with rage. "You even managed to coax my grandma into saying all that nonsense. You seriously do have some sick ulterior motives, don't you? Look, Grandma suddenly clinging to him like a lifeline might have been a total accident. Sure, maybe there were no obvious signs of some twisted calculation at first, but this random guy so generously taking Grandma in, who the hell knows if it was just because Grandma accidentally slipped up and revealed her ultra-rich identity to him? Oh, so I just accidentally blew my deep cover operation, huh? I fired right back at her, though I made sure not to forget the real reason we were here. I clearly remember your text saying, "You do me a favor. So, could you do your part and come with me to the Civil Affairs Bureau to officially check up on this mysterious marriage status of ours?" Shen Yuchu's expression instantly darkened like a storm cloud. Rolling her eyes, she snapped impatiently, "Fine, let's just get it over with. But listen to me. If this marriage is totally fake, I fully expect you to stop using my grandma as a pathetic excuse to get close to me." Suddenly, the little old lady popped her head right out the window. "You wretched girl. Are you out there bullying my precious grandson-in-law?" Hearing that sharp scolding, Shen Yuchu's angry expression completely froze in place. "What? No, I'm not doing anything." Later on, our dinner was surprisingly simple. Just 4 homemade dishes and 1 hot soup. Honestly, it was just enough food for the 3 of us, but the little old lady barely had any appetite at all. After picking at her food for a few sad bites, she heavily set down her chopsticks. "Grandson-in-law, I'm so tired, let's just go home." I immediately softened. "Don't push yourself, Grandma. Let's just rest right here for the night, okay?" Seriously, this small courtyard was practically built like a high-end mini nursing home, completely decked out with all sorts of life-saving medical machines. The frail old lady nervously reached out and grabbed my hand tight. Then, "Could you please stay here and just keep me company for a bit?" I frowned slightly, shooting a hesitant glance over at Shen Yuchu. If I was being completely honest, I was actually pretty worried about the little old lady's health too. But this damn stubborn woman completely despised my guts. She was totally convinced I was just using the poor old lady to score points with her, so there was no way she'd actually agree to this. Shen Yuchu stayed totally silent for a tense moment. "You can stay," she finally said, shooting me an incredibly sharp, meaningful glare that sent chills down my spine. It was blatantly obvious she was only doing this to keep Grandma happy, while silently threatening me not to try anything funny. Once dinner wrapped up, I gently walked the old lady back to her cozy room to get some much-needed rest. She really must have been completely exhausted by today's crazy drama, especially since she was still recovering from yet another rough bout of illness. The second her head hit the pillow, she drifted into a deep, groggy sleep, but she kept tossing and turning restlessly. Feeling totally helpless, all I could do was sit quietly by her bedside and keep her company through the night. Just outside the bedroom window, Shen Yuchu looked incredibly serious and on edge. "Doctor, what on earth is actually going on with Grandma right now?" The private family doctor, who just so happened to have studied psychology, let out a long, heavy sigh. "Well, honestly, even though I have absolutely no idea why the old madam is so intensely fixated on this random boy, I can definitely take a pretty good guess at why she's feeling so incredibly insecure right now. Deep down, she's absolutely terrified that her precious grandson-in-law is going to abandon her and leave for good." Right after the family doctor shot Shen Yuchu another meaningful glance, a heavy truth settled in the room. The old madam must know she won't survive past the end of this year. She's terrified that once she passes away, you'll be left completely alone, with no real family ties. Her grandson-in-law is the only person she can trust to stay by your side. Hearing this, Shen Yuchu froze. Deep within her pitch-black eyes, a turbulent storm of uncontrollable emotions began to fiercely churn. It took a long, agonizing moment for those turbulent feelings to finally settle back into an icy calmness. She stood silently in the pale moonlight, looking as if she had completely blended into the cold, swallowing darkness behind her. After standing there for what felt like an eternity, the woman suddenly pivoted and strode purposefully back toward the main estate. Meanwhile, Lin Fan was having an absolutely miserable time choking down his dinner. The sting of just losing 2% of the company's shares was eating him alive. Shen Xin's mother, Lu Han, was furious with him. Every single word she spat in his direction was dripping with venom and hidden barbs. "Isn't that Lin Yu just some worthless, illegitimate child from your family?" she snapped. "How come that trash can sweet-talked the old lady into giving him shares, but you can't do a damn thing?" Humiliated, Lin Fan could only lower his head like a beaten dog and mumble his apologies. "Auntie, I'm just not as slick and manipulative at coaxing people as Lin Yu is." Lu Han just sneered at his pathetic excuse. "I don't give a damn what dirty tricks you have to use. You are going to get that 2% of the shares back for me. Otherwise, you can completely forget about ever marrying into the Shen family." Trapped and desperate, Lin Fan could do nothing but swallow his pride and suffer in agonizing silence. Having somehow survived that suffocating dinner, he eagerly stood up to excuse himself. But before the loser could even take a single step toward the door, Shen Yuchu suddenly returned. The exact second she stepped into the room, the temperature plummeted, bringing an overwhelming, suffocating aura of absolute authority. She swept her piercing gaze over the extravagant leftovers scattered across the dining table. Her expression instantly darkened with disgust as she scoffed coldly. Grandma couldn't stomach a single bite of food tonight. Yet, All of you are in here casually feasting and drinking like it's a party. Seeing the pure ice in her eyes, even the arrogant Lu Han didn't dare to breathe a single word. Breaking the unbearable tension, Shen Xin's father, Shen Yuanji, furrowed his brows in annoyance and asked, "Yuchu, what are you doing back here?" Shen Yuchu completely ignored her useless excuse for an older brother. Instead, she locked her predatory gaze dead onto the trembling Lin Fan. Since his engagement hasn't been officially broken off yet, he's basically considered a member of the Shen family now, right? And since he's part of this family, he plays by the Shen family's rules. Earlier today, he blatantly disrespected an elder. His punishment is to kneel outside the ancestral hall for the entire night. Leaving absolutely zero room for debate, Shen Yuchu simply waved her hand. On cue, 2 massive bodyguards immediately marched up to flank Lin Fan. "Young Master Lin, if you would please," they ordered. Panicking, Lin Fan looked desperately towards Shen Xin for help, only to find her shrinking back, far too terrified to utter a single word of protest. This was the crushing, absolute authority of the true family head. Swallowing his humiliation, Lin Fan took a shaky breath and had no choice but to obediently follow the bodyguards out. Just as he was stepping out into the cold, he overheard Shen Xin nervously asking her aunt, "Wait, what about that bastard Lin Yu? Did he finally leave?" Then came Shen Yuchu's chilling, warning reply, "He is my personal guest. He's sleeping at the main Shen family estate tonight." Forced into submission, Lin Fan arrived at the dark, imposing ancestral hall under the watchful eyes of the bodyguards. "The young miss gave strict orders," one guard stated. "Since you aren't officially married yet, you are unworthy of entering the inner ancestral hall. You will kneel right here, outside." But the ground outside was nothing but freezing, solid blue stone bricks. Lin Fan desperately wanted to argue his way out of this hell, but the 2 towering bodyguards just stood there with their hands behind their backs, staring at him with dead, icy glares. "Start kneeling, young master." The night air was brutally freezing. Dropping to the harsh stone, Lin Fan began shivering uncontrollably as the bitter wind ripped through his clothes. The biting, merciless chill seeped right through his kneecaps and deep into his fragile bones. He wanted to cheat and slack off just a little bit, but those 2 guards hovered over him like literal, unmoving door gods. They didn't have to speak a single word. Their mere, threatening presence was enough to make his entire body shudder in absolute terror. When I finally woke up the next morning, I found myself lying in a comfortable bed, snugly draped in a small pink blanket that totally clashed with the room's elegant decor. I honestly didn't think too much about the funny mismatch. After getting up and freshening up, I sat down to a warm breakfast with the little old lady and Shen Yuchu. There was a tempting plate of fried sugar cakes sitting right in the middle of the dining table. Naturally, the gluttonous little old lady immediately reached out to snag one for herself. Shen Yuchu immediately frowned in concern. "Grandma, your blood sugar is already way too high. You really shouldn't be eating something dripping with that much oil and sugar." Just as Shen Yuchu was anxiously trying to figure out how to stop her stubborn grandmother, she suddenly heard me chime in with a totally calm voice. "Grandma, this sugar cake really isn't good for your health." And just like magic, that notoriously gluttonous and stubborn little old lady paused. Instead of eating it, she dropped the greasy sugar cake directly into my bowl. She even flashed me a flattering, toothy smile. "Here you go, my dear grandson-in-law. I actually just picked this up for you," she chirped. Sitting across from us, Shen Yuchu shot me a deeply scrutinizing look, utterly baffled as to why her fierce grandmother was listening to me like an obedient puppy. Ignoring her stare, I unceremoniously scarfed down the sweet sugar cake. Wiping my mouth, I looked right back at Shen Yuchu. "Oh, right. We need to head over to the Civil Affairs Bureau later today. Make sure you bring your ID card and your household register." Overhearing this, the little old lady tilted her head and asked curiously, "Why on earth are you 2 rushing off to the Civil Affairs Bureau?" I shrugged and replied, "We somehow lost our official marriage certificate." But unexpectedly, the exact second those words left my mouth, the little old lady confidently spoke up. "Oh, no it isn't. It's not lost at all." She hurriedly scuttled into her bedroom and within seconds trotted back out holding 2 pristine red marriage certificates, proudly handing them straight to me and Shen Yuchu. I stared completely dumbfounded at the bright red marriage certificate resting right there in my hand. Then, a shocking realization suddenly hit me like a truck. The very first time this little old lady had ever laid eyes on me, She had instantly called me her grandson-in-law. That meant she had secretly known we were married this entire time. Feeling like I had just stumbled onto a massive missing piece of the puzzle, I quickly looked up and asked, "Grandma, exactly, why are our marriage certificates secretly hidden away with you?" The little old lady froze, her eyes going completely blank. I can't remember. I frowned. Then how on earth did Miss Shen and I end up married? She just kept shaking her head, muttering, "I don't remember." I was starting to lose my mind. "Grandma, please, think about it carefully." "That's enough," Shen Yuchu snapped, her voice low and dangerous. She stepped right between me and her grandmother, glaring daggers at me. Her eyes were ice cold as she stared me down. "Mr. Lin, this certificate is real. What's next? Are you going to tell me we don't need to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a divorce anymore?" "So, this was your grand scheme all along, wasn't it? First, you used going to the Bureau as a convenient excuse to keep pestering me, to lay your little groundwork. And then, you manipulate my grandma into bringing out this fake document, just to make her believe it's real." I could literally feel the murderous intent dripping from her words. Honestly, I was completely baffled by the whole thing. "Look, it's fine if we don't go today," she scoffed. "After all, getting a divorce isn't something that can be settled with just one quick trip to the Bureau. We've been legally married for 2 whole years. There are a lot of complicated property division issues involved here. We need to sign a divorce agreement first." After Shen Yuchu laid down the law, she stared right through me, waiting for my reaction. I just paused, sighed helplessly, and muttered, "Suit yourself." Was my acting just that good? Or was this ridiculous marriage certificate actually the real deal? Shen Yuchu suddenly looked a bit shaken. Snatching the marriage certificate from my hands, she turned on her heel and stormed out the door. "I'll wait for you in the parking lot," she tossed over her shoulder. I gave the little old lady a soft, reassuring smile before following her. But the second we hit the parking lot, we ran straight into Lu Li, who was propping up a pale-faced Lin fan. The moment she spotted me, she stormed over, practically vibrating with self-righteous fury. "You have to help your brother Lin! You're nothing but a filthy, illegitimate child, but the Lin family looked past your garbage background and raised you anyway. Even if you don't care about our feelings, you should at least appreciate our hard work. It's time you finally repaid the Lin family. I had been forced to swallow this toxic brainwashing garbage for 20 years now. At this point, it was just pathetic." Seeing my deadpan silence, Lu Li took the opportunity to push even harder. "Now that you're all grown up, you finally have the perfect chance to pay us back. Listen to me. Doesn't old Madam Shen dote on you? Go tell her to hand that 2% of the shares back to your brother. Right now." Hearing her demand, a dark laugh escaped my lips. "I'm just a lowly, filthy, illegitimate child, remember? Why on earth would old Madam Shen ever listen to trash like me?" Lu Li completely froze. She opened her mouth to argue, but I didn't give her the chance. I strode right past her, leaving her in the dust, and slid straight into Shen Yuchu's sleek car. It didn't take long for us to pull up to the Civil Affairs Bureau. The second we parked, her assistant, Lu Chang, came rushing over like a maniac. "Boss," he panted, "the driver told me you just took off by yourself. I was terrified. I tracked your GPS and rushed straight over. Did something bad happen?" Shen Yuchu, always a woman of few words, just shot him a look. He pressed on. "Why are you even here? Did Lin Yu's pathetic pestering actually make you paranoid?" "Don't sweat it, boss. I promised you it's physically impossible for that loser to ever get near you again. If he does, I'll literally live stream myself eating trash." I leaned forward from the back seat, my voice lazy and mocking. "Oh really? Drop your live stream channel name, buddy." Lu Chang's entire body went rigid. In awkward silence, the three of us marched right into the service hall. Lu Chang was the first to step up to the counter. "Hello. Quick question. Can someone secretly get a marriage certificate without actually being present in person?" "Absolutely not," the staff member replied without missing a beat. Lu Chang spun around, shooting me a disgustingly smug look. "Did you hear that, you fraud? You actually had the guts to forge a fake certificate. I'm calling the cops right now to lock you up for forging official documents and harassment." But before he could dial, Shen Yuchu slid the marriage certificate across the counter. "Please verify if this marriage certificate is authentic," she ordered. The staff member scanned it carefully before looking up. "Yes, miss. This certificate is 100% real." "What? How the hell is that possible? Did your system glitch out?" Lu Chang screamed, completely losing his cool. "What kind of absolute nonsense are you spouting?" The worker frowned. Sir, marriage is a very serious legal matter. Both parties must have their identities strictly verified in person, and they both have to sign a formal letter of guarantee. My eyes narrowed as I quickly spoke up. Excuse me, but could we take a look at our guarantee letter? Shen Yuchu gave a sharp nod. Yes, pull up the letter immediately. The staff member stood up with a helpless sigh. You husband and wife sure are in perfect sync today. All right, give me a second to dig it up. A few tense moments later, 2 complete sets of registration documents were placed right in front of us. I took one hard look at the signature scrawled across the bottom. My blood ran cold. It was undeniably my own handwriting. Lu Chang leaned over my shoulder and let out a shocked gasp. Boss. Oh my god. This is actually your handwriting too. Shen Yuchu fell utterly, completely silent. I immediately locked eyes with the staff member. Hey, is there any way we can check the security camera footage from the exact day we supposedly registered? I'm so sorry, sir, but our system automatically deletes footage after half a year. The staff member desperately tried to assure us that there was zero chance of a clerical error. The rule was absolute. Both people had to be physically present at the exact same time to receive a certificate. The 3 of us walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau in a complete and total daze. Lu Chang looked like his brain had just short-circuited. Boss. What the hell do we do now? Shen Yuchu's eyes darkened dangerously, while I just raised a cynical eyebrow. Divorce. We both spat the word out in perfect unison once again. Lu Chang froze, completely thrown off. Well, if you guys are getting a divorce right now, shouldn't you sit down and hammer out the terms? I'll have my lawyer contact yours. Talk to my legal team. Shen Yuchu and I blurted out at the exact same time for the 3rd time today. I couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. All right, how about this? We each have our lawyers draft up a rock-solid agreement, and we'll take it from there. If there is a problem, let the lawyers hash it out. Lu Chang sneered, looking me up and down. Like a broke loser, like you could even afford one. But Shen Yuchu just nodded in agreement. I completely ignored Lu Chang, whipped out my phone and said, Miss Shen, let's add each other on WeChat so we can coordinate this mess later. She gave me a deeply suspicious look, but pulled up her QR code anyway. I scanned it, and a chat box instantly popped up. The contact name glaringly read, Silly Granddaughter. Her face instantly turned pitch black with rage. I was internally cringing, having completely forgotten we were already connected on WeChat. Braving her murderous glare, I coughed awkwardly and mumbled, I just picked that nickname at random back in the day. I quickly changed her nickname to Silly Girl, dropped a see ya, and immediately hailed a cab to escape. The second I got in the car, I called my guy Gua. Find me the absolute best divorce lawyer, I ordered. I cannot let that woman take a single red cent from me. Gua sounded completely confused. Boss, what exactly is going on with your marriage? It is not like you both have amnesia, right? I sighed heavily. There was only one person who definitely knew the truth behind all this madness. It was old Madame Shen. I frowned, my heart heavy. The clinical drug trials for treating Alzheimer's disease had to be sped up. If we delayed any longer, it would be too late for her. When I finally got home, I froze. The sweet little old lady was actually standing right at my door, gripping a massive suitcase. Grandson-in-law, you are finally back, she beamed happily. I brought so many of my clothes to stay with you. I just stood there, completely dumbfounded. That very same day, the city's most prestigious law firm received 2 anonymous commissions. Hilariously, both parties' demands were exactly the same. The other party cannot take a single cent. An assistant lawyer complained, I have never seen such a ruthless, heartless couple. But the lead lawyer just chuckled. 1 contract, double the paycheck. Send it to the clients. Soon after, sitting in her luxurious office, Shen Yuchu received my finalized divorce agreement. Just as she opened the file, Lu Chang burst through the door, clutching a report. Boss, we got the investigation results back. Lin Nu only found out you 2 were already married a few days ago when he actually went to register for a marriage himself. As for the years after he was kicked out of the Lin family, a lot of his files are totally wiped. We cannot find a thing. It is incredibly strange. Shen Yuchu's eyes darkened thoughtfully. So, you think this whole mess is definitely tied to him, but his motive is still completely unknown. Also, that top-secret medical researcher still has not replied to our messages, Lu Chang added. Shen Yuchu remained dead, silent. She had absolutely no idea that the miracle drug for Alzheimer's disease was exactly what I was secretly developing. Later that evening, Shen Yuchu asked me to come downstairs. She coldly handed me the agreement. I have no objections. Sign it. She probably expected me to hesitate or beg, but I grabbed a pen and signed it without a second thought. We are getting divorced tomorrow, she stated. That rushed? I asked. I am in a hurry, she shot back. I grumbled inwardly. Hey, my own company is still waiting to go public. Fine. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow morning, I snapped. But right as the words left my mouth, old Madame Shen slowly walked down the stairs. Her frail face was deathly pale, and her voice trembled violently. You two are getting a divorce? Before we could even explain, her eyes rolled into the back of her head, and she collapsed hard onto the floor. Later, outside the hospital ward, the doctor gave us incredibly strict instructions. The old madam's heart cannot take any more shock. You absolutely must not upset her again. Shen Yuchu slumped onto the hospital bench, her hands trembling uncontrollably. When the old madam finally woke up, she looked weakly at me, her voice barely a whisper. Grandson-in-law, I had a terrible dream that you and my bratty granddaughter were getting a divorce. That is not true, right? I bit my lip and stayed completely silent. But Shen Yuchu, standing right beside the bed, quickly spoke up. It is not true, Grandma. If you are not getting a divorce, then hand over the household register and both of your marriage certificates. Okay. Shen Yuchu desperately agreed to every single demand. The sweet old lady turned her hopeful eyes back to me. Grandson-in-law, what that bratty girl just said. It is the truth, right? Remembering the doctor's dire warnings, I swallowed my pride. Yes, Grandma, it is true. Late that night, I sat alone on my sofa, digging through massive stacks of English research data. Suddenly, a WeChat notification popped up on my phone. It was from Silly Girl. Once Grandma's condition stabilizes, we will go finalize this divorce. I stared at the screen and replied with a single cold word. Fine. The agreement was already signed anyway, so I officially wanted nothing to do with her. A second later, Shen Yuchu sent another message. Do you have any other demands for the settlement? I typed back fast. Just make sure Grandma gets better. After that, we divorce as fast as humanly possible. The next day at the hospital, the little old lady looked at me, then glared at her granddaughter, and suddenly commanded, Bratty girl, I want you to arrange a job at the Shen Group for my grandson-in-law. Shen Yuchu stiffened, clearly caught off guard, but then forced out, All right, Grandma. The old lady was instantly in high spirits. Tomorrow, you are going to work with that brat, okay? I gladly agreed to it. The Shen Group's internal database was massive, which would make it incredibly easy for me to dig up the secret medical research I needed. Later on, Shen Yuchu left the ward with Lu Chang. Out in the hallway, Lu Chang was practically whining. Boss, why did you let him in? He clearly just wants to infiltrate our company. Why on earth did you agree to it? Shen Yuchu's voice was ice cold. If we do not keep him right under our noses, how are we supposed to expose his true colors? Shen Yuchu walked away coldly. Back in the hospital room, the old lady sneakily waved me over to her bed. Grandson-in-law, come close. Let me tell you a little secret. If that brat ever bullies you at work, you fight right back. Do not be fooled by her arrogant, tough girl act. She is actually utterly terrified of cats. I froze in my tracks. A long-buried memory surfaced a sweet little girl I knew from my childhood who was also deathly afraid of cats. Could it really be her? Grandson-in-law, do you prefer cats or dogs? You know, I just remembered how much I used to love cats. But because that girl despised them, I ended up forcing myself to stop liking them entirely. It didn't take long for me to figure out why the quirky little old lady asked me that out of the blue. The very next day, right on the top floor of the Shen Group, a ridiculously adorable Shiba Inu was wagging its tail and running happy little circles all around my legs. Lu Chang stood there, absolutely speechless. The old madam specifically arranged a new job for Mr. Lin. But why on earth does it involve babysitting a puppy? Honestly, even Shen Yuchu looked completely baffled as to why my official corporate duty was petting a dog. The whole situation was utterly absurd. Still, she coldly ordered, take him to Group 1 of the New Energy R&D department to clock in. This was clearly a calculated move she had arranged well in advance to keep a close eye on me. The New Energy R&D department was absolutely crucial to the Shen Group's future. Tossing me in there was her sneaky way of testing the waters, waiting to see if I'd slip up and reveal my true motives. Honestly, I really didn't care. I calmly scooped up the little puppy and followed Lu Chang out. "Does the little guy have a name?" I asked. "The old madam said you should be the one to name him," he replied. I shot a quick glance at Shen Yuchu, who was practically scowling with a sour look on her face. "All right then, let's call him Kitten." The new energy R&D department was located all the way up on the 38th floor. As we rode the elevator, Lu Chang cleared his throat. "Young Master Lin, the employees down in our Shen Group's R&D department are almost exclusively PhD graduates. The absolute bare minimum requirement to even step foot in there is a master's degree from a top-tier university. You are literally the very first undergrad to ever work here. So make absolutely sure you learn well from your senior colleagues. Trust me, soaking up their knowledge will be highly beneficial for your future. This is a special favor the boss personally arranged just for you. Though, of course, you really don't need to feel all that grateful about it. It basically just means this is the boss's little reward to you for successfully coaxing the old madam." My mouth twitched slightly in annoyance. "Yeah, that's really not necessary at all. Oh, and by the way, the boss absolutely doesn't want your relationship made public. It's just to avoid any messy lingering drama for when the two of you eventually divorce." I shot him a deadpan look. "Perfect," I replied coolly. I had the exact same concern. Lu Chang was completely stunned. Was this nobody guy actually daring to disdain the boss? Honestly, the first day at the office was an absolute breeze. Not a single person bothered to assign me any actual work. I was more than happy to just kick back, relax, and play with the puppy right there in the office. Once the little guy finally fell asleep, I quietly got up, locked the office door, and headed straight for the top secret database on the 60th floor. I knew that only by creating a highly specific drug for Alzheimer's and helping the little old lady recover her memories would I finally understand what the hell was actually going on with this completely baffling marriage. The massive collection of books up here covered absolute top-tier knowledge spanning across basically all major industries. Some of these documents were even highly classified scientific research materials that you couldn't find anywhere else. You absolutely couldn't access this kind of data on the outside. I felt a massive surge of excitement rush through me. Meanwhile, up on the top floor, Shen Yuchu suddenly received a text from old Madam Shen. Grandma's WeChat name had already been dramatically changed to Grandma Who Cannot Be Stimulated. "You little brat, you have to eat lunch with my precious grandson-in-law today. And remember to take a picture of you two eating intimately to show me." Shen Yuchu sighed helplessly, rubbing her temples before pressing the intercom. "Beep. Lu Chang, prepare 2 nice lunches and bring them straight up." She sent me a quick message, but I was so busy I didn't reply for a long time. Up on the 60th floor, I was desperately searching through endless rows of towering bookshelves. Suddenly, I spotted Shenxing staring right at me from across the room. I had been so deeply engrossed in finding a specific book that I accidentally bumped into someone while stepping backward. "Oh, sorry," I muttered. I turned my head, only to see Shenxing looking back at me with an incredibly complicated, almost pained expression on her face. "Lin, you went through all that trouble just to please Grandma. Don't tell me it's all just a scheme to get close to my aunt." My face instantly turned freezing cold. "That is absolutely none of your business," she scoffed. "My aunt has always been notoriously unapproachable all these years. Don't delusionally think you can actually hook up with her just by relying on that pretty boy face of yours. She is nowhere near that superficial. See? Isn't it true? She literally just threw you some totally dispensable, useless job just to get rid of you." I let out a harsh scoff in response. "Oh, is that right? So are you saying that when you shamelessly chased after me for so long back then, it was simply because you were superficial?" Shenxing's eyes instantly welled up, turning a furious red. "I know you deeply hate me for proposing to Lin Fan, but I really had no other choice. Wealthy family marriages require a massive amount of careful consideration. My mum initially agreed to let me be with a commoner. But with your deeply flawed status, no matter what, I could absolutely never marry an illegitimate son. If I did, how would I ever hold my head up in the Shen family again? I would instantly become the biggest laughingstock in all of Heiken." I coldly looked away, completely unfazed. "Well then, thanks for sparing me from that absolute nightmare of a marriage." Just as I was about to walk away, Shenxing desperately blocked my path. "Listen, I can arrange for you to work in our group instead. I'll personally find someone highly skilled to mentor you. I know exactly how fiercely ambitious you really are. You're incredibly smart, Lin. If you come with me, you'll definitely learn incredibly fast and rise to the top. Hearing this ridiculous offer, I sharply cut off her desperate rambling. And the condition for all this? I asked. Divorce her and be with me. Shen Xing cried, as she absolutely couldn't stand the agonizing thought of another woman sharing me. Just thinking about you with her drives me completely crazy, she yelled. I replied with ice in my voice. You're simply not worthy. She gritted her teeth. Why do you even love that hooligan wife of yours so much anyway? Believe it or not, I could just toss her a hefty sum of money or hire someone to violently intimidate her, and she'd abandon you in an absolute heartbeat. How could a cheap woman like her ever compare to me? Hearing this pathetic rant, I swept a freezing cold gaze over Shen Xing. Look, I really didn't want to completely crush your fragile ego, but since you insist on getting to the absolute bottom of this, I'll tell you the brutal truth right now. My wife is 1,000,000 times prettier than you, and honestly, her figure puts yours to shame. Leaving those biting words hanging in the air, I spun around to leave, only to freeze. Shen Yuchu was standing right at the corner. I fell completely silent, and she didn't say a word either. Meanwhile, right behind me, Shen Ying's eyes darkened with pure malice. She immediately snatched up her phone and dialed Lin Fan. Aren't you grabbing dinner with Dr. Yu tomorrow afternoon? You are taking me with you. Meanwhile, Shen Yuchu totally played the lunch card, using it as the perfect excuse to drag me all the way up to the top floor. Stepping into her massive office, she casually pointed toward a nearby dining table. You eat first. I couldn't help but feel a sudden twinge of guilt. Judging by her calm reaction, she probably didn't hear my little outburst earlier, right? But while I was lost in my own head, the sudden click of a phone camera snapped me back to reality. Shen Yuchu calmly snapped a quick photo, sent it straight to Grandma, and then casually strolled over. I knew exactly what that picture was for, so I kept my mouth shut. I just stared at the table, desperately trying to force some small talk. Miss Shen, your lunch spread is seriously lavish. The stunning woman sat down right across from me, elegantly picking up her chopsticks. Well, after all, I need to keep my nutrition up if I want to maintain this figure. I completely froze, my face instantly flushing beet red. I quickly jerked my eyes away from her snow-white skin, awkwardly packing up a small portion of the food. Miss Shen, I just remembered. I haven't fed the kitten yet. I really need to take off, but thank you so much for the lunch. I was in a fantastic mood as I bolted out of there with the lunchbox in hand. Later, right after work, Shen Yuchu gave Grandma a call. Where are you right now? At the hospital. My chest suddenly started aching again this afternoon, so I think I want to stay here for a few more days. You little brat. Are you coming over to keep me company tonight? I mean, it is perfectly fine if you don't. Just let me waste away in this hospital room, all alone and pitiful. All right. I am on my way. That is much better. Oh, and by the way, I already told my favourite grandson-in-law. He is coming to keep me company too. You two should come together. Shen Yuchu just rubbed her throbbing temples, knowing exactly what kind of matchmaking scheme Grandma was plotting. She immediately shot me a text. I will pick you up after work to head to the hospital. I replied almost instantly. No need for that. I have already called a cab, and I am on my way. Now, even though she genuinely wanted to keep her distance, seeing me avoid her like the absolute plague actually made Shen Yuchu feel an inexplicable surge of pure annoyance. Meanwhile, I walked right into the inpatient department, gently holding the puppy. Just a short distance away, Mrs. Lin had finally finished her checkup, with Lin Fan carefully supporting her arm. Wait, is that Lin Yu? Why on earth is he at the hospital? Is he sick? Mrs. Lin asked with a hesitant tone. Hearing that, Lin Fan felt a sudden, jealous surge of anger. Old Madame Shen completely banned visitors, yet she specifically allowed Lin Yu to keep her company. His dark eyes flickered with envy. He is probably just here to visit old Madame Shen. Lin Yu sure is acting like a devoted son. Nanny Nan immediately frowned in deep disdain. Devoted? What a total joke. I have never once seen him come visit you, madam. And yet, you are still speaking up for him. Young Master Lin Yu is nothing but a cold, ungrateful wretch. He has probably forgotten all about you by now. Lin Fan quickly chimed in, pouring fuel on the fire. I actually heard Miss Shen pulled strings to get him a job at the Shen Group. That has to be exactly why he is sucking up to old Madame Shen. Nanny Nan just scoffed. Madam literally raised him from nothing. The debt of raising a child is greater than anything in this world. Yeah. Well, I certainly don't see him repaying you, madam. All right. That is quite enough. Stop talking right now. Mrs. Lin sternly cut them off. Lin Fan feigned a heavy sigh. Nanny Nan means well, Mom, but some people actually know how to repay a simple favor tenfold. Take Dr. Yu, for example. Mom, you only sponsored him with a little bit of money back in the day. But just look at how much he has helped our family over the years. 3 years ago, when our company almost went completely bankrupt, Dr. Yu stepped up and directly handed us a massive technology patent, saving us entirely from that crisis. Nanny Nan firmly nodded in agreement. When you really compare them, Dr. Yu is 1,000,000 times better than Lin Yu. Honestly, I am also super curious about what kind of person Dr. Yu really is. Mom, please take me with you tomorrow. Okay. Mrs. Lin smiled softly and gently patted his head. All right. I will take you along. This entire dramatic scene was witnessed by me, sitting quietly on the plush sofa inside the VIP ward. My cold eyes closely followed Mrs. Lin, noticing her face had a sickly, unhealthy, pale complexion. Lin Fan was busy whispering something right beside her, and Mrs. Lin just nodded helplessly. The two of them looked like such an intimate, perfect mother and son. It wasn't until their fancy car finally drove away that I reluctantly forced myself to withdraw my intense gaze. When I turned back around, the little old lady was standing right behind me. Grandson-in-law? Who was that person just now? She looked incredibly familiar. My hardened eyes immediately softened. Just as I was about to open my mouth, her tired eyes suddenly lit up. I remember now. She is your mother, isn't she? You two look so incredibly alike. I paused slightly, caught off guard. Actually, aside from our basic face shape, Mrs. Lin and I didn't share any similar facial features at all, but that freezing cold and totally aloof temperament, it was exactly the same. I guess it makes sense. After all, ever since I left the suffocating Lin family behind, I would subconsciously mimic her ruthless way of doing things, naturally adopting a fraction of her intimidating aura. Taking a deep breath, I looked warmly at the little old lady. Grandma, she is not my mum, but the stubborn little old lady was absolutely certain. Oh, yes she is. My sweet grandson-in-law, how can you possibly not recognize your very own mother? I honestly didn't know whether to burst out laughing or start crying. Thankfully, Shen Yuchu suddenly appeared at the door, carrying our dinner. The delicious dinner Shen Yuchu prepared was incredibly lavish, and she even thoughtfully brought enough fresh fruit for all three of us. But the very second the little old lady laid eyes on it, she immediately frowned. My grandson-in-law cannot eat mangoes. He is highly allergic to them. My heart straight up skipped a beat. I stared at her in pure shock. Grandma, how did you know? I used to be allergic, but I grew out of it 2 years ago. I had literally never mentioned this to her before. The sweet little old lady just smiled warmly. You told me before, dear. You said that whenever you ate mangoes, your face would break out in little red bumps. Hearing that, my expression instantly turned serious. When exactly was before? The little old lady looked completely confused again. I think it was before you got married. You told me then. A total storm raged in my heart. I was absolutely certain I didn't know her before this crazy marriage, and I definitely didn't have freaking amnesia. I hurriedly pressed on, desperate for answers. What else do you remember? Like, how did Miss Shen and I even get our marriage certificate? The old lady sadly shook her head, saying she just couldn't remember. Right then, I felt Shen Yuchu's intense, scrutinizing gaze burning into me. Her face was completely ice cold. I knew for a fact she thought I was scheming with some ulterior motives again. Man, I really couldn't clear my name now. Even if I jumped into the Yellow River. I scooped up the Shiba Inu. Grandma, you guys eat first. I'm going to go walk the dog. I slipped away and hid at the end of the corridor, quietly watching the ward. Not long after, Shen Yuchu actually followed me out. Does young Master Lin have something to say? She asked coldly. I thought you'd want me to explain, I replied. Oh? And what exactly does young Master Lin want to explain? I answered her earnestly. About what Grandma said regarding before the marriage. I really truly don't know what's going on. Something this private and specific. The little old lady couldn't have just made it up out of thin air. I totally thought she would interrogate me, but she just calmly replied, I'm confused too, Miss Shen. You actually believe me? Shen Yuchu took a step closer, her tone turning fierce. Young Master Lin, I don't care if you have some hidden agenda. As long as you can keep my grandmother happy, I promise I will keep you safe. It hit me right then. I understood now she didn't give a damn about the truth. As long as Grandma was happy, she was completely willing to turn a blind eye to whatever shady schemes I might be pulling. Then, she added with a terrifyingly imposing aura, "But if you ever hurt Grandma, I will personally make sure you have absolutely no place left in Hai Chen. Hasn't Miss Shen already done exactly that?" I shot back. Shen Yuchu frowned hard. Just as she opened her mouth to speak, Professor Wen's voice suddenly rang out down the hall. "Lin Yu." Professor Wen walked right over, his voice loud and clear. "I was literally just about to call you, kid. Did you find a job yet? Have you finally cleared up that ridiculous misunderstanding with Miss Shen? That Miss Shen is really something else, isn't she? Why on earth is she being so ruthlessly petty to you? Cancelling your grad school recommendation." Shen Yuchu stood frozen to the side, her icy face now full of utter confusion. I shot her a cheeky half smile. "Don't worry, Professor. It's already resolved. It was just a tiny misunderstanding. Miss Shen is actually quite nice. Not only did she arrange a sweet job for me, she even promised to keep me safe." Shen Yuchu's face instantly darkened with rage. Professor Wen breathed a heavy sigh of relief, then looked right at Shen Yuchu and instinctively asked, "Wait, is this your hooligan wife?" Hearing that, Shen Yuchu's face turned completely black with absolute fury. My smile, however, grew even wider and way more smug. "Sort of," I chuckled. Professor Wen then said earnestly to a fuming Shen Yuchu, "You're such a pretty young lady. You should really work hard and find a proper job instead of causing trouble." Meanwhile, at this exact moment in the Lin family dining room, Lin Zhen was anxiously asking his wife, who had zero appetite, "Shia, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell, honey?" Lin Fan, the stepbrother, quickly interjected, "Dad, we ran into Lin Yu at the hospital today. Mom is just a bit worried about him." "Why the hell would you worry about him?" Lin Zhen snapped. Lin Fan shook his head. "He definitely hates me now. I'm just worried he might say something bad to old Madam Shen, and Miss Shen will take her anger out on me instead." Lin Zhen coldly sneered. "He's the worthless trash who offended Miss Shen. What does that have to do with you?" Just then, Lin Zhen's phone suddenly rang. It was Shen Yuchu's elite special assistant, Lu Cheng. "Assistant Lu, what a rare and absolute honor for you to call me. Does Miss Shen have any special instructions for us?" The voice on the other end was exceptionally ice cold. "The boss asked me to ask young Master Lin Fan, when exactly did he give the order? For young Master Lin Yu to disappear from Hai Chen? Why didn't the boss herself know anything about this bold command?" Lin Zhen's face completely froze in terror. He stared at Lin Fan in utter disbelief. Lu Cheng dropped one final, chilling sentence. "The Lin family really needs to properly discipline its arrogant juniors." With that brutal warning, he hung up the phone. Beside him, Lin Fan silently lowered his guilty head. When I saw Lin Yu pestering Miss Shen, I was just so afraid he'd ruin my upcoming marriage with Sister Xing Xing. "Dad, I swear I didn't mean to overstep." Lin Fan defended himself, his face deathly pale. "Lin Yu is still your son after all. I was just afraid you wouldn't have the heart to scold him for being so foolish." Lin Zhen immediately changed the subject. "How many damn times have I told you? In my heart, I only have one true son. And that is you. What the hell is Lin Yu? How could that trash ever compare to you?" Mrs. Lin softly disagreed. "Zhenen, Lin Yu is still your flesh and blood." Lin Zhen immediately whipped his head around. "Jaya, I was brutally schemed by Lu Lui back then. It's my fault for wronging you, but I will never acknowledge her son as mine. I only have you and our precious son in my heart." Standing nearby in her lowly role as a nanny, Lu Lui heard those cruel words and instantly clenched her fists in burning resentment. She glared at Lin Zhen with eyes full of venomous bitterness. This was the man she once deeply loved, her childhood sweetheart, the boy next door who threw her away. But in this man's eyes, there was only Lazier, his one true love. Years ago, when Luli got pregnant, she showed up with her swollen belly, practically begging on her knees just to be his mistress. But he threw her out without a second thought, swearing he would never, ever betray his wife. Left with zero options, Luli cornered Lazier, literally threatening to kill herself right then and there just to secure a spot in the Lin family mansion. For all these years, Lin Zhen never spoke a single extra word to her, and he treated Lin Yu like he was absolutely invisible. Thank God she had secretly swapped those two babies. Luli kept her head down, desperately forcing back the twisted smirk bubbling in her eyes. Lin Jenon would never figure out the truth. The son he claimed belonged to him and Lazia. The one he cradled so dearly and spoiled rotten for all these years, Lin Fan, was actually her flesh and blood. And as for Lin Yu, well, that brat deserved to be completely ignored and pushed down into the dirt. Madame Lin stubbornly shook her head, her voice trembling. Jenon, Lin Fan made a massive mistake, and a mistake is a mistake. Our family needs to step up and apologize to Lin Yu. Lin Jenon frowned, his voice dripping with disgust. Apologize? My son? Apologizing to Luli's kid? Luli panicked and immediately chimed in, waving her hands. Oh, no need. No need at all. The Lin family simply raising him is already a massive favor in itself. Teaching that boy a harsh lesson is perfectly justified. Madame Lin looked at the two of them and let out a heavy, soft sigh, lacking the energy to argue any further. Later, when Lin Fan walked her back to her bedroom, she finally spoke up again. If you have some free time tomorrow, I'm going to take you to find Lin Yu and apologize to him, face to face. Lin Fan's fake smile instantly stiffened. Wait, weren't you planning to take Shenxing to meet Dr. Yu? Let's just go do that together tomorrow. Lin Fan's eyes instantly lit up with greed. He quickly linked his arm through hers, acting sweet. Okay, Mom, you're seriously the best to me. But the second he left the room, Madame Lin turned her tired eyes to her old servant, Sister Nan. Sister Nan, my health has been so terrible these past few years. I feel like I've completely failed in my duties. I haven't disciplined Lin Fan properly at all. Oh, madam, you're definitely overthinking things. Young Master Lin Fan is deeply filial and always so considerate of you. He can easily just correct those minor little flaws later on. Madame Lin could only smile bitterly. But Lin Yu never lies. Suddenly, a violent fit of coughing wrecked her fragile body. Supported tightly by Sister Nan, she slowly shuffled toward her bed. That dark, hidden secret still weighed so incredibly heavily on her chest, she could barely even breathe. The next day arrived. Honestly, I've been feeling a bit on edge ever since I woke up this morning. It's been 10 long years since I last laid eyes on Madame Lin. I couldn't help but wonder, would she be thrilled to see me, or totally furious? Right around noon, I headed back home just to change into some fresh clothes. The old lady actually asked Shen Yu Chu to give me a ride home. The two of us walked out of the hospital room together, but just as we hit the ground floor, we saw Lu Chang strutting right over to us. Shen Yu Chu gave the guy a polite nod. Lu Chang casually shoved a piece of paper right into my hands. Young Master Lin, why don't you take a good look at this? I glanced down. It listed a massive row of top-tier professors, all specializing in new energy from the absolute best domestic universities in the country. I stared at Lu Chang, totally confused. These are all elite professors, even more famous than Professor Wen. You can just pick one of them and continue your master's studies. Consider it the boss's personal compensation for your unexpectedly cancelled postgraduate recommendation. Young Master Lin, crossing paths with our boss is honestly a massive blessing in disguise for a guy like you. I just twitched my mouth, entirely unimpressed. Yeah, no need, he scoffed. What? Then do you actually want to be Dr. Yu's grad student? Lu Chang frowned, looking at me like I was delusional. Well, that's a bit tricky, kid. Dr. Yu is in incredibly high demand right now. A genius professor like him? He only takes on actual genius students. I'm afraid a guy like you won't even catch his eye. Maybe you shouldn't aim so hopelessly high. At worst, after you somehow finish your masters, you can go crawl to Dr. Yu and try for your PhD then. I just stood there, staring at him like he was a complete and utter idiot. Ignoring his nonsense, I turned directly to Shen Yu Chu. Miss Shen, you really don't need to see me off. I'll just grab a cab back myself. Shen Yu Chu stood quietly, staring intensely in the direction I had just left. Out of nowhere, she coldly ordered Lu Chang, "Then go help him contact Dr. Yu." Wait, what? Lu Chang was left standing there, totally dumbfounded. Meanwhile, over at the entrance of a high-end private restaurant, Madame Lin arrived super early, bringing along Lin Fan and Shen Xing. Shen Xing confidently pushed open the heavy door to the VIP room. But what met her eyes was a man's tall, perfectly straight back. He was casually standing there, pouring a fresh cup of tea. "Hello, Dr. Yu. I'm Shen Xing, representing the Shen Group. It is an absolute pleasure to finally meet you." I slowly turned around to face them. A playful, mocking smirk crept right onto my face. Lin Yu? What the hell are you doing in here? I raised an eyebrow. Honestly, I feel like I should be the one asking you that. My voice was utterly lazy and perfectly casual. Shenxing's face instantly turned ice cold. Oh, don't flatter yourself. I'm definitely not here for a loser like you this time. Where is Dr. Yu? Where is he hiding? I didn't say a single damn word in response. Right then, Madame Lin walked into the room with Lin Fan trailing behind. The moment she saw me, Madame Lin's eyes instantly welled up with heavy tears. Are you Lin Yu? My heart actually stirred slightly in my chest. Madame Lin, have you been doing well lately? She choked back a sob. I'm doing very well, but what about you, Lin Yu? I heard a rumor from your father that you recently got married. Madame Lin reached out and held onto my hand so tightly, letting out a deeply emotional, trembling sigh. A dark, venomous glint violently flashed right through Lin Fan's eyes. Wow, Lin Yu, we totally should have invited you to sit and eat with us. But since you're clearly working here as a waiter, it's probably not very convenient for you, right? Tell you what, we'll make sure to leave you a much bigger tip later on, just to help subsidize your pathetic living expenses. Lin Fan, that is quite enough out of you. Madame Lin sharply scolded him, then hurriedly turned her apologetic eyes back to me. Lin Yu, please excuse him. We actually have an important appointment to meet Dr. Yu here today. You're also studying in the new energy field, right? You should really stay and meet him too. It'll be incredibly beneficial for your future career. Clearly terrified that I was going to steal his precious networking resources, Lin Fan aggressively picked up a scalding hot teacup and marched right over to me. Lin Yu, my mum basically forced me to apologize to you yesterday. So, why don't I offer you this fresh cup of tea as my grand apology? And with that wicked sneer, his fingers purposefully loosened their grip on the boiling cup. The boiling hot tea was inches from scalding me. I dodged out of the way just in time, bumping him in the process and sending the teacup bouncing right back onto Lin Fan. The scalding water made him shriek in pain. Lin Yu, I know you hate me, but how could you do something like this? He cried out, playing the ultimate victim. I just lowered my eyes, faking complete innocence. Oops. My bad, I really didn't see you there. Shenxin immediately snapped at me. Lin Yu, is this how you treat customers as a waiter? You just hurt a paying customer. Go get your manager right now. I am filing a formal complaint against you. Surprisingly, Madame Lin stepped up to shield me. Alright, that is enough. We are all family here. Lin Fan whined. Mom, Sister Shenxin is furious. Just let Lin Yu leave first so we do not start another huge fight. Madame Lin looked at me with deep apology in her weary eyes. You, please come home to visit us whenever you have the time. Next time we get the chance, I will take you to visit Dr. Yu. Lin Fan hurriedly changed the subject. Mum, why isn't Dr. Yu here yet? I gave them a subtle half smile. He is already here. Instantly, all three people in the room turned their heads to stare right at me in total shock. Just as Madame Lin opened her mouth to ask what I meant, she suddenly started coughing violently and collapsed face first onto the dining table. Madam! I instinctively reached out to catch her, but Lin Fan shoved me away with brutal force. Get the hell away from her! What did you just do to my mum? Mom, wake up! The ambulance arrived in a flash. I tried to climb into the back with them, but Shenxin violently grabbed my arm. You absolute bastard! Stay far away from Madame Lin. If you anger her into an early grave, I swear I will not let you off. I ignored her threats, caught a cab and followed them closely all the way to the hospital. The emergency hallway was completely packed with people, and there were 0 empty beds left. From up on the second floor, Shen Yuchu watched the chaotic scene unfold. She immediately turned and instructed Lu Chang, go arrange a private hospital room for young Master Lin. The front desk got the call and immediately announced, a VIP room just opened up for you. Lin Fan was absolutely ecstatic. Sister Shenxin, you are truly amazing. Shenxin shamelessly accepted the credit in silence. The whole group moved into the plush hospital room. I tried to follow right behind them, but Lin Fan blocked my path at the door. Lin Yu, my mum really needs to rest right now. Do not disturb her. With a sharp click, he slammed the door in my face. I stood frozen in place, my chest burning with pure anxiety. Yet, I had absolutely no right to go inside. I could only slump down onto the cold hallway bench. Not long after, a flurry of hurried, heavy footsteps approached. Lin Zhenan rushed frantically into the hallway, his face totally pale with overwhelming worry. After confirming that Madame Lin was actually out of danger, he dragged Lin Fan out into the hall. Lin Zhenan frowned deeply and demanded, "What on earth happened? She was perfectly fine earlier. Why did she suddenly faint like that?" Lin Fan shot a dirty glare at me sitting nearby. It was Lin Yu. He kept insisting on meeting Dr. Yu and started a huge argument with Sister Shen Xin. It made Mom so incredibly furious. Lin Zhenan instantly shot me a death glare. "You ungrateful little wretch." Without another single word, he swung his heavy arm and aimed a vicious slap right at my face. I did not even try to dodge. My mind was entirely consumed by the image of Madame Lin's sickly pale face. Maybe Lin Fan was right all along. My very presence was nothing but a curse to her. But the stinging physical pain I expected never actually came. I slowly opened my eyes, only to see a cold, incredibly elegant figure standing firmly in front of me. Shen Yuchu stood right there, looking as if she were holding up the entire sky just to protect me. Lin Zhenan panicked and stumbled over his words. "Miss Shen, Mr. Lin is merely disciplining his disobedient son. I know I should not interfere, but my grandmother is actually quite fond of him right now. She would be terribly upset if she saw ugly bruises on young Master Lin's face." Shen Yuchu's voice was deep, commanding, and yet oddly pleasant. Lin Zhenan immediately backed down and replied, "I was acting completely thoughtlessly." Right then, Madame Lin's weak coughing echoed from inside the hospital room. Lin Zhenan and Lin Fan both rushed inside at once. I stayed rooted by the door, hesitating for a very long time. I could hear her frail voice drifting from inside. "I am totally fine. Please do not worry about me. I haven't slept well in such a long time. Fainting just now actually felt like getting a really good night of sleep." Only then did my violently tense heartstrings finally start to relax. Shen Yuchu looked at me and asked, "Are you not going in?" "Not right now," I replied. "Otherwise it will just turn into another massive shouting match, and that will ruin Madame Lin's rest," I said softly, feeling a heavy wave of exhaustion. Just as I turned around to leave, the little old lady, supported gently by her loyal butler, walked over to us. "I heard that my precious grandson-in-law's mother is stuck in the hospital. So, I came here to see her." I quickly reached out and held her arm. "Grandma, Madame Lin is not actually my mum." The old lady blinked. "Did I somehow get it all wrong?" The little old lady pulled out her smartphone, swiped to a specific photo, and handed it directly to me. "Grandson-in-law, you sent this exact picture to me before. You told me it was a picture of you and your mum. Is the woman in that hospital room not the same person in this photo?" I froze instantly, my blood running completely cold. In the digital photo, Madame Lin and I were sitting side by the sea, smiling brightly at the camera, looking exactly like a loving mother and son. But I had not even seen her once since the day I left the Lin family. How on earth could we possibly have a photo together? I zoomed in tightly on the image and finally spotted a glaring clue. This was nothing but a poorly photoshopped, completely fake picture. "Grandma, exactly when did I send this to you?" The little old lady just slowly shook her head. "I honestly do not remember." "Then how exactly did I send it? Was it through an email or a text message?" She continued to shake her head in total confusion. "I really cannot recall." I felt a bitter wave of helplessness wash over me, but the little old lady remained completely firm in her belief. "Grandson-in-law, that woman in there is absolutely your mum. You cannot just ignore your own flesh and blood." After we safely saw the old lady off, Shen Yuchu remained standing silently in the hospital hallway. Lu Chang quickly walked over to give his report. "Boss, I have looked into the situation. Young Master Lin went to that private restaurant to work a part-time job, and then he accidentally ran into the Lin family." Shen Yuchu's voice turned incredibly cold and sharp. "Is the Shen group paying him far too little money? Why else would my guy have to go out and break his back working a part-time job?" Lu Chang quickly replied, "It is not a small amount of money, boss. The old madam personally arranged his massive allowance for him. Maybe his boss handed him some impossibly hard tasks, and he was terrified of getting the boot. But Shen Yuchu had a gut feeling. It just wasn't that simple. What on earth was the Lin family doing at that exclusive private restaurant? Simple, they had a secret appointment with the elusive Dr. Yu. Miss Shenshin went there for the exact same reason. But Dr. Yu? He totally ghosted them in the end. A faint, knowing glimmer flickered in Shen Yuchu's deep eyes. A completely absurd thought started forming in her head. Meanwhile, inside the hospital room, Madame Lin was looking a whole lot better after finally getting some rest. Lin Fan told Shen Xin she could head home first. An awkward, embarrassed look plastered across his face. Shenshin was literally only hanging around to wait for Dr. Yu. Madame Lin caught onto this right away and handed me her phone. I missed the appointment today. I really need to explain things clearly to Dr. Yu. After Madame Lin managed to reschedule, Lin Fan finally walked Shenshin out into the hall. Out in the hallway, Lin Fan tried to smooth things over. Sister Shenshin, please don't worry. There definitely won't be any issues with Dr. Yu. Right now, over in the Shen Group's R&D department, there are just a few stubborn old fools who refuse to fall in line. But as long as I can invite Dr. Yu to join us, I'll have made a massive contribution and totally secured my position. So, Dr. Yu is incredibly important to me. You just have to convince him. As the two of them hopped into the elevator, I stepped out from the shadows, pushed the door open, and walked right back into the room. Lin Jennan's face instantly went pitch black. What the hell are you doing back here? Get out. Is that Lin Yu? Quick, let him in. Madame Lin's gentle, shaky voice rang out. Lin Jennan glared, shooting me a harsh warning. Don't you dare make Madame angry again. I already told you, today's episode had nothing to do with Lin Yu. It's just because I haven't slept a wink in days. Madame Lin chided him, gently taking my hand. Child, you must have been absolutely terrified today. Her palm felt incredibly warm against mine. I forced a soft smile and replied, No, I really wasn't. You really need to come home more often, she sighed. And what about your wife? Your mother keeps calling her a delinquent, but I just don't believe a word of it. Lin Yu has always had fantastic taste. You've always known exactly what you want. Any girl you fancy is bound to have her own special merits. Bring her over to see me someday, all right? My nose suddenly stung with a wave of deep emotion. Okay. Just then she started coughing violently. I quickly pulled out a small plastic bottle. This is a special cough medicine I had someone pick up for you. Take just one pill when you can't sleep at night. Madame Lin gave a weak nod and gratefully accepted it. The second I stepped out of the room, I heard Lin Jennan scoffing loudly from inside. Seriously? How could you be won over by a single, cheap bottle of medicine from some random, no-name clinic? With a look of utter disgust, he casually chucked the bottle straight into the trash can. Late that night, Madame Lin woke up choking on another violent coughing fit. The suffocating anxiety was so absolutely overwhelming, it made her want to just end it all. Driven by some crazy, inexplicable urge, she reached into the trash and pulled out the little bottle. She swallowed a single pill, and almost instantly, a soothing, icy coolness coated her burning throat. Her eyes grew heavy, and she drifted off into a deep, peaceful sleep. At 10 a.m. the next morning, Madame Lin was gently woken up by Lin Jennan. She had actually slept completely soundly until broad daylight. Madam, those sleeping pills the doctor prescribed yesterday really did the trick. You slept for a full 10 hours. Nanima's eyes were practically red with tears of sheer excitement. Wait, what sleeping pills? Madame Lin looked completely stunned. Nanima glanced over at Lin Fan. Miss Shenshin was the one who got them for you. She specifically tracked down some heavy-duty sleeping pills and mixed them right into your medicine. I honestly didn't expect them to work so flawlessly. Madame Lin froze. She realized her throat felt incredibly clear today. Her gaze slowly drifted to the unlabeled, cheap plastic bottle resting right by her pillow. Unaware, Lin Jennan kept loudly praising his future daughter-in-law. This daughter-in-law of ours is truly top tier. I heard the inpatient department has been completely packed lately. Shenshin had to pull a massive amount of strings just to lock down this VIP room for us. We seriously owe her big time for this. Lin Fan immediately seized the opportunity. Mom, Sister Shenshin is incredibly devoted to you. Don't you think you should help her out a little too? The family wants Sister Shenshin to run the R&D department, but those stuck-up researchers flat out refuse to accept her authority. If we can just get Dr. Yu to come on board as an external technical consultant, Sister Shenshin will easily secure her position. Madame Lin hesitated for a brief moment, then finally sighed. All right, fine. I'll ask Dr. Yu, but if he says no, we drop it entirely. Lin Fan's face completely lit up with a massive grin. In his mind, as long as it was Madame Lin doing the asking, the legendary Dr. Yu would absolutely never refuse. Madame Lin pulled out her phone, pulled up Dr. Yu's sleek profile picture, carefully chewed over her words, and finally hit send. Xiao Yu, are you free right now? I'd really love to ask you for a tiny favor. When my phone buzzed with the message, I had just gotten back from taking the little old lady for a stroll downstairs. I furrowed my brows in deep confusion. What on earth could Madame Lin possibly need from me right now? Wait, could there be a serious problem with the medicine I gave her yesterday? That formula was strictly still in the clinical trial phase, but seeing her suffer so horribly, I had taken a massive risk and brought it out early. A cold, gnawing wave of anxiety suddenly hit my stomach. I had the caregiver rush the little old lady back to her bed and practically sprinted all the way over to Madame Lin's room. But when I burst through the door, I found Shen Xin and Lu Li were already sitting there. The lively, cheerful chatter and booming laughter completely died the exact second I walked in. It was an awkward, dead silent halt. Feeling like a total, unwanted third wheel and seeing that Madame Lin was perfectly fine, I ducked my head and turned around to leave. But then, Lu Li opened her big mouth. Well, well, well. If it isn't the disgraced young Master Lin, since you've desperately latched yourself onto old Madame Shen's high and mighty branch, I guess nobodies like us are totally beneath your notice now, she sneered. I turned to walk away, but she dug her nails into my arm, yanking me back. Yeah, I heard you're busting your ass trying to suck up to old Madame Shen, waiting on her hand and foot all night. Do you seriously think those elites will ever treat a mutt like you as a real grandson? Wake up! You're nothing but a cheap plaything to them. Lin Fan quickly chimed in, playing the good guy. Hey, don't say that. Old Madame Shen actually values Lin Yu a lot. Lu Li scoffed, her voice echoing down the hall. Values him? What kind of sick joke is that? Look at how Miss Shen Xin treats our Lin Fan. Now that is true value. She batted her eyelashes, looking at Shen Xin like a total lapdog. I heard there wasn't a single VIP room left yesterday. Even crazy rich families were stuck waiting in line. But thanks to Miss Shen Xin pulling strings, Madam got right into this exclusive suite. Shen Xin shot me a fake, modest smile. Oh, Auntie just didn't know about the situation. Otherwise, she definitely would have helped too. I just did what little I could. Lu Li sneered. Please, even if Miss Shen knew, she wouldn't waste her breath on a loser like you. Lu Li wasn't done running her mouth. No matter how hard you lick their boots, you're just a stray dog they keep around for kicks. Don't you get it? I clenched my fist so hard my knuckles turned white, biting my tongue to keep from starting a brawl right there in the hospital room. Little did they know, Shen Yushu had just walked up to the door and heard every single toxic word. Her beautiful face turned drop-dead freezing. Her assistant, Lu Chang, instantly caught his boss's deadly glare. He coughed loudly, stepping into the room with perfect posture. Madame Lin, I am here on behalf of CEO Shen to check on your recovery. Is this VIP suite to your liking? The entire room dropped into dead, suffocating silence. Everyone turned to stare at Shen Xin, who looked like a deer caught in headlights. Lu Li froze for a second, then plastered on a sickeningly sweet smile. Oh, Miss Shen Xin, so you are CEO Shen to arrange this room for us. You're amazing. Shen Xin's face turned completely stiff. Lu Chang let out a polite, yet utterly ruthless chuckle. Actually, Mr. Lin Yu asked our boss to arrange this. Miss Shen Xin, he raised an eyebrow. Did you ask the boss too? Shen Xin turned so red she looked ready to combust, praying the floor would just swallow her whole. I made a lot of calls yesterday and asked around. I must have misunderstood. Lin Fan clenched his fists, his face burning with absolute humiliation. Madame Lin finally coughed to break the brutal tension. Thank you, Miss Shen. The room is incredibly comfortable. Once I'm fully recovered, I'll definitely pay a visit to the old madam. Lu Chang nodded smoothly. As long as you are comfortable, that way, Mr. Lin Yu won't have to worry, and our old madame will be thrilled. His words were a blatant slap in the face to the others, crowning me as the true VIP. Everyone else's stomachs hit the floor. Madame Lin, however, actually looked genuinely happy. I shot a sideways glance at Lu Li, not even trying to hide the smug smirk on my face. Lu Li looked ready to explode. You arrogant little punk. What the hell are you so smug about? Shut your mouth. Lin Jinan suddenly roared at her. Madam is sick and needs to rest. What are you doing barking like a wild dog in here? Get the hell out and go home. Lu Li shot me a look of pure, unadulterated venom, covered her face and ran out the door. I ignored the drama and looked back at the hospital bed. Madam, how did you sleep last night? Madame Lin's hand twitched beneath the blankets, instinctively gripping the small, unbranded medicine bottle I had given her. I slept wonderfully. Honestly, I haven't slept that well in years. Glad to hear it, I smiled softly. I'll be taking off now. Lu Chang and I turned and walked out of the ward. Shen Yushu was waiting in the hallway, leaning casually against the wall while scrolling on her phone. The harsh hospital lights cast a striking shadow over her cold, untouchable profile. Seeing me walk out, she looked up, her lips parting slightly. Grandma was worried sick and insisted I come check on things myself. Her tone was icy as usual, but a rush of genuine warmth hit my chest. Just then, the ward door swung open again. Shen Xin and Lin Fan stepped out into the hall. The moment Lin Fan saw Shen Yushu and me standing side by side, he tensed up like he was staring down a loaded gun. Shen Xin blurted out in shock, "Auntie, what are you doing here?" Shen Yushu shot her a freezing glare. "I don't recall needing to report my daily schedule to you." The sheer, suffocating pressure of her aura made Shen Xin's palms drip with sweat. She shot me a look so toxic it could melt steel. Trying to stir the pot, she sneered, "Young Master Lin, you've been spending all your time at the hospital playing nurse. Doesn't your precious wife mind?" I blinked, totally caught off guard. I slowly turned to glance at Shen Yushu and let out a soft, mocking chuckle. "No, I'm pretty sure she doesn't mind at all." Shen Xin's smug face instantly shattered. Shen Yushu completely ignored her and turned to me. "Let's head back. Grandma is waiting for you." I gave a faint, victorious smile. "Yeah, let's go." We turned on our heels and walked away, leaving a shell-shocked Shen Xin drowning in her own embarrassment. Defeated, she dragged herself back into Madame Lin's room. As she was smoothing out the blankets, she suddenly gasped. "Wait, why is there a random medicine bottle on the bed?" Lin Jinan frowned in confusion. "Wait a minute. Isn't this that shady, unbranded junk Lin Yu tried to give you?" "Yeah," Madame Lin mumbled. "Why the hell did you dig it out of the trash?" I took one pill last night, and I swear it actually worked." Madame Lin tried to explain, but Lin Jinan wasn't having it. "Are you out of your mind? It was obviously the prescription sleeping pills doing their job." He aggressively snatched the bottle right out of her hands. "God only knows what back alley he bought this trash from. Do you want to destroy your health?" "Don't throw it away," Madame Lin pleaded. "I just won't take it tonight, okay? We'll see which medicine is actually doing the heavy lifting." But late that night, reality hit hard. Madame Lin woke up hacking her lungs out. Her caretaker Nanma desperately tried giving her those so-called miracle sleeping pills, but they were about as useful as breath mints. Madame Lin kept coughing violently, her chest heaving as her face turned a terrifying, deep shade of crimson. Panicking, Nanma rushed over to grab my unbranded medicine. But right as she was about to pop the pill into Madame Lin's mouth, Lin Fan lunged forward and grabbed her wrist. "Nanma, wait! What if her sudden coughing fit was caused by this exact same junk?" Lin Fan barked. "We cannot let her swallow some dangerous unknown drug." Lin En cursed angrily, aiming his venom at Lin Yu. "Exactly. You treat him so well, and he actually brings medicine just to poison you." Madame Lin was coughing way too hard to even speak, staring intently at Nanny Ma. Nanny Ma was her most loyal servant. Withstanding the heavy pressure, she shoved the pill right into Madame's mouth. Miraculously, the coughing stopped instantly. Madame Lin let out a long, heavy sigh of relief. "Are you sure it was Lin Yu's medicine that worked?" The group stepped outside into the hall. Lin Fan's face was deathly pale. That punk Lin Yu actually managed to buy the specific medicine? What kind of connections could a loser like him possibly have? He must have begged Miss Shen to buy it for him. Lin Jiangnian furrowed his brows tightly, his expression dark. It seems old Madame Shen really values that kid. Meanwhile, inside the VIP ward, Shen Yuchu was gently chatting with her grandmother. "What did you have for lunch today, Grandma?" The little old lady thought about it for a long, quiet moment. "White porridge." No, that doesn't seem right. "It was noodles, you little brat. Am I right?" Yuchu smiled warmly and nodded, but her heart completely sank. They had eaten rice for lunch. Grandma had forgotten again. Her memory deterioration was clearly getting worse by the day. I suddenly spoke up, leaning back with a lazy, casual tone. "Hey, Grandma, what colour were Miss Shen's earrings yesterday?" The little old lady immediately fired back, "Purple!" This spoiled brat is the most particular about her looks. She even wore those fancy diamond cufflinks. "And the day before yesterday, they were blue. I was the one who bought her those blue earrings, you know." I smiled faintly, shooting Yuchu a pointed, meaningful look. "See? Grandma remembers the things she truly cares about perfectly clearly." Yuchu looked over at me. I was comfortably nestled in a beanbag chair, casually playing with my phone and looking completely relaxed. What I just said was purely to comfort her, and it worked. Her anxious heart seemed to slowly calm down. Suddenly, the little old lady started laughing out loud. "My dear grandson-in-law, everything I just said was totally right, wasn't it?" I nodded with a grin. "Yes, it was. See that, you little brat? Your husband actually remembers exactly what you wear every single day. He really holds you deep in his heart." I instantly froze. Honestly, I just have a photographic memory. I swear I really didn't try to memorize her outfits on purpose. Just as I was about to explain myself, I saw Yuchu staring blankly at her computer screen, completely ignoring us. What I totally failed to notice, however, was that the tips of her ears were turning a very bright shade of red. I just shrugged and went right back to studying the complex data on my phone. The final stages of my Alzheimer's research still weren't giving me any solid clues. Needing to clear my head, I stood up to go for a quick walk. I had just made it downstairs to take the dog out when someone aggressively patted my shoulder. I turned around and saw Lu Li standing there with her gambling-addicted brother, my deadbeat uncle, Liu Yaoguang. "Hey there, nephew. Long time no see." I immediately took a defensive step back. "What do you want?" I demanded. "Well, you see, I heard my dear nephew has successfully latched onto the wealthy Shen family. Your poor uncle is a bit tight on cash lately. Do you think you could lend your favorite uncle some money?" I coldly sneered right in his face. "I don't have a single dime for you." "Oh, come on. You've been serving that rich old lady so incredibly well, and she hasn't given you a single dime yet?" I dangerously narrowed my eyes. "Not yet. Maybe she will later." Liu Yaoguang smiled with a sleazy, greedy grin. "Then you definitely have to lend a huge chunk to your uncle when she does. If you give me enough cash, your uncle can even tell you a juicy secret." He chuckled darkly and swaggered away. I scoffed in total disgust. Just then, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I picked it up and was shocked to see it was actually Madame Lin calling me. Meanwhile, over in a completely different hospital room, Lin Fan saw that the famous Dr. Yu still hadn't replied to any of his desperate messages. Shen Xin was pressing him incredibly hard for results, so he sneakily stole Madame Lin's phone right while she was fast asleep. He quickly found the contact name Xiao Yu in her phone book and dialed it directly. The call connected instantly. My voice was completely ice cold. "Hello, Madame Lin. Is something the matter?" Lin Fan suddenly froze in his tracks. "Lin? You?" His eyes widened in sheer disbelief. He could never, ever mistake my voice. My heart sank slightly, and my tone grew even colder and sharper. "Lin Fan, what the hell are you doing with Madame Lin's phone?" "Wait, this is your phone number," he was stammering, becoming totally incoherent. "What kind of crazy nonsense are you spouting?" I shot back. Then, Lin Fan suddenly realized something. Lin Yu's name also had a U in it. Madame Lin occasionally called him Xiao Yu as a nickname too. He let out a massive, heavy sigh of relief. Dropping his polite disguise instantly, Lin Fan sneered viciously. "I just wanted to tell you, loser, even if you latched onto Miss Shen through that old Madame Shen, at best you're nothing but a pathetic toy. Miss Shen already has a husband, but me? I'm completely different. I am going to marry Shen Xin in the future and become the rightful, powerful son-in-law of the entire Shen family." "Then congratulations to you," I deadpanned. "In wealthy families, love alone isn't nearly enough. With an absolute trump card like Dr. Yu right in my hands, I'll always remain totally invincible." I rolled my eyes and hung up the phone. My mouth twitched in pure amusement. Since when the hell did I become Lin Fan's personal trump card? Right after that, the secret WeChat account for Dr. Yu, which was registered under Madame Lin's name, suddenly chimed with a new notification. It was Lin Fan again. I smirked, turned on my voice changer, and answered the call. This time, Lin Fan's tone was sickeningly sweet and extremely respectful. "Hello, Dr. Yu. I am so incredibly sorry to bother you so abruptly. I am Li Sha's son, Lin Fan. The massive Shen Group would love to officially invite you to join their elite R&D team. My mother heavily supports this amazing idea too. Would you possibly be interested?" I cut him off with a ruthlessly cold tone. "I am strictly only responsible for the companies registered under Madame Lin's name." With that brutal rejection, I hung up on him straight away. Monday quickly arrived, and I confidently went right back to work at the Shen Group headquarters. Just as I left the hospital doors and was about to hail a cab, a sleek black Bentley pulled up smoothly right next to me. Inside, Shen Yu-chu sat perfectly still, staring straight ahead. Get in. Grandma told me to drop you off. Shen Yu-chu's voice was cold, his gaze flat. We need a picture for her. I quietly slid into the back seat, ready to face another day of this charade. He held up his phone to snap a quick selfie of us. I flashed a bright, practiced smile and threw up a peace sign. For a split second, Shen Yu-chu actually looked a little dazed by it. The moment we pulled up to the company, I booked it straight to the archives on the 60th floor. Meanwhile, over in R&D, a major personnel shakeup was going down. Shen Xin just got bumped up to Vice General Manager. The official excuse? She had successfully recruited the elusive Dr. Yu. Up in the top floor executive suite, Lu Shang was busy reporting my every move. His only reason for joining the Shen group was to dig up information. He's been holed up in the library reading all morning. He hasn't even stopped for lunch yet. Shen Yu-chu's eyes flickered with something unreadable. Without another word, he headed downstairs alone to find me. Back in the archives, I was balanced on a sketchy ladder right in front of the cranial neurology section, stretching desperately for a file on the very top shelf. My heart leaped when my fingers finally gripped the heavy spine, but then my foot slipped. I tumbled backward and crashed to the floor, pinning a very shocked Shen Yu-chu right underneath me. Realizing who I was straddling, I scrambled to my feet in an absolute panic. Crap, I'm so sorry! I didn't mean to do that! Shen Yu-chu took a long, hard second to catch his breath before standing up. The tips of his ears were burning bright red, but he put on a flawless mask of total indifference. The air between us was thick and awkward. I muttered some random excuse and bolted, but right before slipping away, I made sure to stash that crucial medical book in a hidden, dusty corner. When I snuck back into the library later that afternoon, my heart dropped. The book was totally gone. My brain completely short-circuited for a second. And then, it hit me like a truck. There was exactly one guy in this entire company who had the power to just swipe a book like that. Up on the top floor, Shen Yu-chu was casually flipping through that massive, complicated neurology tome, his eyebrows pulled together in a tight frown. Lu Chang was standing right beside him, grumbling. Boss, this Lin Yu kid is completely ungrateful. He's not actually here to do any real work, is he? He was never here to work in the first place, Shen Yu-chu replied, his voice painfully dry. Lu Chang hesitated, then asked, should we just return this book? Shen Yu-chu didn't answer right away. He just rhythmically tapped his long fingertips against the leather cover. The sudden memory of my bright, hopeful eyes staring down at him earlier made his chest feel inexplicably warm. Not yet. Fast forward to quitting time. The Bentley was idling quietly in the underground garage when Lu Chang asked, are we heading out, boss? No rush, Shen Yu-chu murmured. He was sitting in the back, still gripping that ridiculously thick reference book. It wasn't until I finally scurried into the car that he looked up and gave the order. Let's go. Lu Chang sat in the driver's seat, totally stunned. The boss definitely hadn't told him to wait for the young master to ride home together. After the brutal workday, I rushed straight back to the hospital. But the moment I reached the VIP ward, I heard my so-called mother's sickeningly sweet, flattering voice. Oh, old madam, I came all this way specifically to see you. Speaking of which, we truly are destined to be family. Old Madam Shen stood her ground, blocking the doorway with a fierce glare. Get lost. If you don't leave right now, I'll have security beat you black and blue. Li just smiled, trying to play nice. But I'm Lin Yu's mother. Old madam, aren't you so incredibly fond of him? For his sake, you really shouldn't treat me this poorly. You are not his mother. Old Madam Shen spat out the words with absolute, terrifying certainty. Madam Lin is his true mother. Li instantly broke out in a freezing cold sweat. Her eyes went wide, and she blurted out without thinking, how did you know? Absolute terror gripped her. The dark truth about swapping those babies at birth. Only she and her brother Lu Yaoguang were supposed to know about that. How on earth could this old lady be so damn sure? Spotting Shen Yu-chu and me walking down the hall, Li immediately swallowed her panic and put on an act. She rushed up to me, aggressively shoving a heavy thermos into my hands. Lin Yu, Mom brought you some nice hot chicken soup. You've been working so hard taking care of the old madam. Drink up and get your strength back. Staring at her, I only felt a rising wave of absolute disgust. I asked her flatly, what do you actually want? Let me guess. It's about that remaining 2% of the shares. Old Madam Shen values you so much, she whined. If you just beg her, she'll definitely agree to help your poor brother, otherwise he won't even be able to hold his head high in front of Shenshin. My gaze turned completely icy. No. Lee's face went rigid. Completely dropping the act, she threw herself onto the hospital floor and started wailing at the top of her lungs. Fine, I went through so much pain and hardship to give birth to you, and now that you've climbed up the social ladder, you just toss your own mother aside like trash. Everyone, come look at this. Look at this ungrateful wretch of a son. He despises his own flesh and blood just because we're poor, and now he wants to go play grandson to a rich family. The nurses and passing patients immediately stopped, pointing fingers and whispering loudly. I just stood there, watching her pathetic performance impassively. But deep down, the suffocating sense of powerlessness in my chest only grew heavier. Keep making a scene, I told her coldly. Once you disturb the other patients enough, security will literally drag you out. Without another glance, I started to walk right past her. The fake tears stopped, and Lee flew into an absolute rage. You ungrateful little brat! She lunged up from the floor, unscrewed the thermos, and viciously hurled the boiling hot chicken soup right at my face. Watch out! A pair of strong, familiar hands suddenly yanked me back into a firm embrace. Shen Yuchu spun us around, shielding my back and taking the brutal, scalding splash of liquid entirely meant for me. My eyes blew wide in shock. I grabbed his arms, panicking. Oh my God, are you okay? I'm fine, he muttered, frowning slightly as he glared daggers at Lee, who was already sprinting down the hallway in utter terror. Once we finally rushed into the ward, Grandma Shen started anxiously tugging at his ruined shirt. Take it off, quickly, let Grandma see how bad the burn is. Are there blisters? Oh, does it hurt terribly? Grandson-in-law, don't just stand there. Hurry up and apply some medicine to his back. The little old lady frantically shoved a tube of burn ointment straight into my trembling hands. She instantly kicked everyone else out of the room. I'm leaving him in your hands, grandson-in-law. Suddenly, it was just the two of us left alone in the quiet ward. Shen Yuchu muttered softly, Grandma is just messing around, let me call a nurse in. No, I said, I'll do it. I walked up close behind him, watching the twilight cast long shadows across his bare back. Dabbing some ointment onto my fingertips, I gently applied it to his skin. He didn't make a single sound. He just sat there in absolute silence until I finished rubbing in the medicine. He straightened his clothes and fixed his hair. Thank you, young Master Lin. You're welcome, I replied. But honestly, you really didn't have to take that hit for me. If you get hurt, Grandma will be devastated. Shen Yuchu stared at me, his gaze incredibly intense. Have you forgotten? You are my husband now. My heart actually skipped a beat. I couldn't help but feel that this version of Shen Yuchu was completely different from before. I'm going to step out for a bit. To do what? He asked. To get some payback. I had originally planned to track down Lu Lei, but instead I spotted Lin Fan and my uncle, Lu Yao Guang, lurking in the stairwell. Lu Yao Guang was rubbing his hands together greedily. My good nephew. Your uncle is just a little tight on cash right now. Lin Fan was barely suppressing his rage. I already gave you my entire allowance for this month. Well, I can't survive on that anyway, the older man sneered. If you don't cough up the cash, I'm going to expose the truth. They will definitely pay me a massive fortune for it. I slammed the door open and walked right in. My voice was pure ice. What truth? Lin Fan practically jumped out of his skin. Lin Yu? What the hell are you doing eavesdropping on us? I ignored him and glared straight at Lu Yao Guang. Keep going. What truth? I can pay you whatever you want. How much can you give me? Lu Yao Guang's eyes lit up with sheer greed. Lin Fan completely panicked. The money you want. I'll find a way to get it for you. Now get the hell out of here, Lin Fan barked. Before scurrying off, Lu Yao Guang leaned in and whispered to me, Eldest nephew, this secret of mine is always available to you. As long as you can offer the right price, I will happily sell it to you. Once he was gone, I quietly shot a text to Jua. Dig into Lu Yao Guang's current situation. I turned back just as Lin Fan was trying to sneak away. I stared at him deadpan. If you don't want people to find out, don't do dirty deeds. Did you honestly think I wouldn't be able to investigate what you and Lu Yao Guang are hiding? Lin Fan froze, his body going completely rigid. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Oh, really? Then what kind of massive leverage does he have on you, forcing you to pay him off every single month? What kind of crazy nonsense are you spouting? He stammered. I suggest that if you have so much free time, you better start planning your own way out of this family. Stop wasting your breath on me, I demanded. Where is Lu Lei? That's your mother. Why the hell are you asking me? How should I know? Lin Fan yelled, quickly sprinting away like a coward. I immediately dialed Lu Lei's number. I want you to come back here and apologize to Shen Yuchu right now. No, he won't let me off the hook, she whined. You apologize for me. You are my son. A son is supposed to pay for his mother's debts. That's just how the world works. Fine. Then don't blame me when I call the cops, I warned. Why would you call the police on me? I am your mother. Besides, the person I actually wanted to hit was you. It is perfectly justified for a mother to discipline her own child. I hung up on her right then and there. Because Lu Lei had physically assaulted Shen Yuchu, she was ultimately detained for 48 hours. Back at the hospital, Shen Yuchu had gone downstairs to take a meeting in the RV. I sat by his grandmother's hospital bed. I'm so sorry, I whispered. The old lady just waved her hand dismissively. Grandson-in-law, why are you apologizing to your own family? She smiled warmly. Besides, seeing that stubborn brat step up to defend you, I honestly couldn't be happier. Hearing the word family made tears of genuine warmth well up in my eyes. Meanwhile, Lin Fan was desperately scraping together 50,000 yuan, quickly wiring it straight to Liu Yao Guang. He shot off a panicked warning text. Keep your mouth completely shut, otherwise neither of us will survive this. Deep down, Lin Fan was absolutely terrified. His only lifeline now was to marry Shen Xin as fast as humanly possible. As long as he became the Shen family's son-in-law, even if his fake identity was exposed, he'd still have an out. Later that night, at 9 p.m, Shen Xin unexpectedly showed up looking for Lin Fan. Lin Fan was thrilled by the surprise visit. Shen Xin, what brings you here? But Shen Xin cut straight to the chase, sternly asking about Dr. Yu. Dr. Yu? Are you absolutely sure you've worked things out with him? She demanded. Lin Fan's eyes nervously darted around the room. Of course! Then arrange a meeting for me. I need to see Dr. Yu. Lin Fan nervously picked at his fingernails. Oh, Dr. Yu actually went abroad. I'll definitely set it up the second he gets back. Shen Xin, do you have an urgent problem that needs solving? I can contact him for you right now. Shen Xin just stared at him, her eyes full of suspicion. I've sent the issue to your email, she said coldly. Forward it to Dr. Yu and ask him to solve it for me. Okay, no problem. I'll forward it to him right this second. Lin Fan was feeling cocky. He had already memorized Madame Lin's personal email address by heart. He had recently discovered that Dr. Yu always replied to Madame Lin's emails instantly, without ever asking questions. That was the only reason he dared to pull off this massive lie. He tapped away on his phone, forwarding the file immediately. Dr. Yu usually replies to my messages instantly. Just wait a moment. Meanwhile, back inside the VIP ward, my own phone buzzed in my pocket. I glanced down at the screen. It was an email from Madame Lin. Xiao Yu, could you help solve this problem? The attachment was, unsurprisingly, a highly complex technical issue from the Shen group. I let out a dark scoff. Lin Fan was actually trying to use Madame Lin's name to trick me into helping him. My fingers flew across the keyboard as I typed a freezing reply. I am only responsible for the Lin family. The Shen group's problems are none of my damn business. A notification chime echoed loudly from Lin Fan's phone across town. He eagerly opened the email. A smug, triumphant smile plastered across his face. But the second he read my brutal response, his smile completely shattered. Shen Xin's brow furrowed. What is it? She asked. Lin Fan swallowed his rising panic and plastered on a forced smile. Dr. Yu said it's going to take a few days to crack this problem, he lied. Shen Xin let out a massive sigh of relief. That makes sense. It's a notoriously brutal issue. I made a bet with Lin Yu's team that we'd have a solid proposal ready before Friday. We aren't going to have any issues, right? No problem at all, he replied, though his eyes darted around the room nervously. Later, when Shen Xin returned to her family estate, her father, Shen Wenji, greeted her with an incredibly rare, beaming smile. That's my girl, just what I expect from my brilliant daughter. To actually recruit Dr. Yu and lock down a solid foothold in the R&D department this fast is incredible. Her mother, Lu Han, was literally crying tears of joy. Shen Xin clenched her fists, her ambition burning bright. Since she had chosen the ruthless path of a strategic marriage, she would absolutely not regret it. As for Lin Fan, he was hers, and hers alone. Meanwhile, on my end of town, I let out a loud sneeze, rubbing my nose as I kept grinding away at my desk. My coffee cup was completely empty. Out of nowhere, a shadow fell over my workspace. Shen Yuchu quietly poured a glass of water and set it down right on my small coffee table. I blinked, a little taken aback. "Hey, thanks. You're welcome," she replied softly. "It was no trouble at all." Shen Yuchu smoothly slid back into her original seat like it was the most natural thing in the world. Nearby, the sweet little old lady was watching us, grinning from ear to ear. I swear she was already mentally flipping through a baby name dictionary, picking out names for her future great-grandchildren. The very next day, right inside the R&D department, Shenshin blocked my path in the break room. "There's a massive new energy networking event tonight," she announced. "Every single person going is a total heavyweight in the industry. Word on the street is that the legendary Dr. Yu might even make an appearance." I just rolled my eyes and kept walking. And the Shen Group's R&D department secured an exclusive invite. I could actually take you along, you know. Broaden those narrow horizons of yours and help you scrape together some real connections. "Yeah, no thanks," I fired back, striding right into the office without even looking over my shoulder. My group leader, Lin Ying Chao, let out a sharp scoff. Trying to buy him off with just one measly invitation? Lin Yu isn't that short-sighted, she shot at Shenshin. Shenshin's face turned ice cold. "You need a reality check," Shenshin snapped. "I can hand him resources you couldn't dream of. Do you seriously think just anyone can walk into a gathering like that? At the absolute minimum, I have the power to get him in." Later that evening, right after work, Lin Ying Chao called out to me. "I've got a work event tonight," she said. "You're coming with me." I didn't think too much of it. I quickly texted Shen Yuchu to say I'd be working overtime and hopped straight into my manager's car. But the moment we pulled up to the grand entrance of the reception, a host stepped right in front of Lin Ying Chao. "I am so sorry, Miss Lin," he said stiffly. "The VIP attendees from the Shen Group have already been officially registered with us. I'm afraid your name simply isn't on tonight's list." Right on cue, Shenshin strolled out to the lobby, casually sipping from a glass of champagne, her eyes narrowing with smug satisfaction. "Oh, Group Leader Lin. Group B's R&D workload is just so heavy right now. I figured you wouldn't bother coming. So, I politely declined on your behalf. Such a shame. It's way too late to add you now. You two should really just head home." Lin Yingchao was absolutely burning with rage. "Shenshin, you're crossing a massive line. Who the hell gave you the right to cancel my RSVP? Shenshin smirked. "I am the Vice General Manager of the R&D department. Obviously, I have every right to make decisions for my subordinates." Then Shenshin shifted her cold gaze to me. "Lin Yu, are you finally starting to see the reality here? Without my express permission, neither of you can even step foot through these doors." I calmly met her gaze, totally unfazed. "Oh, is that so?" I muttered, pulling up an email with my ultra-exclusive electronic invitation and flashing it right at the host. "Are we good to go in now?" I asked. The host took one single look at my screen, his eyes going wide, and immediately stepped aside with a deep, respectful bow. "Right this way. Please come in," he stammered. Shenshin's smug expression shattered instantly. She stared in utter shock at the personalized VIP invite glowing on my phone screen. "How? In what capacity did a nobody like you get this kind of invitation?" she demanded. "None of your damn business," I shot back smoothly. I locked my screen and turned to a stunned Lin Yingchao. "Shall we?" I asked. Overjoyed, she linked her arm with mine and marched us right into the venue, eagerly introducing me to a sea of industry bigwigs. We were deep in conversation when Lin Fan and Shenshin purposefully swaggered over to our circle, looking for trouble. The second President Lin and the older executives spotted Lin Fan. They practically swarmed him. "Young Master Lin, tell us, when exactly is the brilliant Dr. Yu going to make his grand entrance? We would absolutely love to pick his brain and ask for some advice." Basking in all the shameless flattery, Lin Fan put on a totally fake show of modesty. "Oh please, I'm just here to accompany my lovely fiancée tonight," he bragged. Shenshin eagerly milked the spotlight to network, while Lin Yingchao got shoved right to the sidelines. She leaned in and whispered frantically in my ear, "President G is going to be here soon. Don't you dare be shy. Thicken that skin of yours and go offer her a toast. There are way too many vultures here who want a piece of her time." The corner of my mouth twitched in amusement. "Relax. I'll personally introduce you to her later," I promised Lin Yingchao. She just rolled her eyes, clearly assuming I was just talking big. But right at that exact moment, a massive commotion erupted at the main entrance. "President G is finally here," someone shouted. Lin Fan smugly adjusted his expensive suit and swaggered right up to my face. "Well, Lin Yu, need me to pull some strings and introduce you to President G?" Shenshin chimed in with a toxic, sarcastic sneer. Oh please, do you honestly think a powerhouse like President G is the kind of woman who falls for a pretty face? Countless gorgeous heirs have tried to hit on her, and she hasn't batted a single eyelash. Do you seriously think you have that kind of charm? Lin Fan puffed out his chest, grabbing Shenshin's hand to lead her over to greet President G. But before he could even utter a single syllable, the legendary President G blew right past them like a hurricane. Under the completely stunned, wide-eyed gazes of every single VIP in the room, she rushed straight up to me, her face lighting up with genuine surprise. "Oh my God, why are you here?" she beamed. That one sentence instantly plunged the entire ballroom into a deafening, dead silence. Lin Fan's outstretched hand just awkwardly froze, completely suspended in midair. The smug smile on his face didn't even have time to fade before it froze into a hilarious look of pure terror. Shenshin was even more shell-shocked, the champagne glass in her trembling hand nearly slipping right through her fingers. "Mr. Gu, did you mistake him for someone else?" Lin Fan forced the words out, his voice shaking. "He's Lin Yu, just a worthless deadbeat from our family." Gu completely ignored him, locking his burning gaze solely on me. "Boss, I sent dozens of emails begging you to attend, but you kept saying you didn't have the time. Turns out you were just coming incognito." I offered a helpless smile. "I'm just accompanying my boss for some personal matters." "Boss?" Shenshin shrieked, her voice completely cracking. "Mr. Gu, you're calling him boss? Isn't he just that gangster's wife's freeloading loser, Lin Yu?" Gu snapped his head around, his expression freezing over, eyes as sharp as daggers. "Miss Shen, I suggest you watch your mouth. The man standing right in front of you is the absolute core of the technology your Shen group has been desperately begging us for. He is also the legendary, never-before-seen Dr. Yu." The moment the words left his mouth, a massive, suppressed gasp erupted from the entire crowd. "Impossible!" Lin Fan completely lost his mind. He pointed a shaking finger at me and roared, "Dr. Yu has clearly been in contact with my mum this whole time. How could he possibly be this bastard? Lin Yu, what kind of insane bribe did you slip Mr. Gu to make him play along with this pathetic act?" I stepped forward, staring him down with absolute ice in my eyes. "Lin Fan, you stole Madam Lin's phone just to send those emails. Did you really think I wouldn't find out?" That line. Only responsible to the Lin family. Didn't you just receive that exact reply? Lin Fan's face instantly drained of all colour, turning deathly pale. His legs completely gave out, and he collapsed into a pathetic heap on the floor. Shenshin swayed unsteadily on her feet. She stared at me, her eyes practically overflowing with crushing regret and absolute disbelief. She had always thought I was just some worm struggling in the mud, which was exactly why she tried to humiliate me with $50,000. But in the blink of an eye, I had become an untouchable god she was forced to look up to. Right at that chaotic moment, a sudden commotion broke out just beyond the door. Madam Lin, supported by Nanny Nan, actually walked right into the hall. Her complexion was rosy, and her steps were remarkably steady, completely shattering the sickly, fragile image. Madam Lin walked straight toward me, heavy tears welling up in her eyes. "That medicine, you developed it yourself, didn't you?" I gave her a gentle nod. "Are you feeling any better?" I asked. "Wonderful," she breathed out. Madam Lin then turned her piercing gaze to Lin Jenon and Lu Li, her voice turning cold and unapologetically firm. "Jenon, haven't you always been dying to meet Dr. Yu? Well, he is standing right here. Moreover, my most trusted confidant, Chen, has already told me the absolute truth about what really happened back then." Madam Lin took a fierce step forward, glaring daggers at Lu Li. "Lu Li, did you honestly believe that swapping those babies at the hospital was a dirty secret you could hide from me forever? All these years, I have been quietly investigating and watching you. As a mother, you completely neglected your own flesh and blood, yet you were sickeningly devoted to someone else's child. I knew something was horribly wrong. A long time ago. I've already had the paternity test done myself." She violently slammed a medical report onto the table. Lin Jenon picked it up, his hands trembling uncontrollably. The second he clearly saw those results, he whipped his head around and slapped Lu Li ruthlessly across the face. "How dare you? How dare you swap your filthy bastard for my actual son?" Lu Li let out a miserable, blood-curdling shriek, completely collapsing to the floor in ruin. Lin Fan stared blankly at the scattered report, screaming out in utter despair. No, 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 no! I am the eldest young master of the Lin family. I am the rightful heir, he wailed. I just stood there, watching this entire pathetic meltdown with eyes as cold as ice. Status, wealth, bloodlines. These trivial chains that once bound me now felt as utterly meaningless as a feather drifting in the wind. Boss, the car is ready, Gu reminded me in a low, respectful whisper. I turned to walk away, but my hand was suddenly gently caught. Shen Yuchu, without me even realizing when she'd moved, was standing right behind me. She had changed into a stunning, dark, ink-coloured evening gown. The brutal injuries on her back were safely hidden beneath the elegant fabric, but the look in her eyes when she gazed up at me had completely lost its usual intimidating icy chill. Mr. Lin, she spoke softly, her voice carrying a fragile trace of reliance that I doubt she even noticed herself. Grandma is still at the hospital. She's waiting for us to go home. I looked down at her, and the softest, most guarded part of my heart was gently struck. All right, I murmured. Let's go home. Just as we were walking out of the grand banquet hall, Shen Xin suddenly rushed out, practically crying her eyes out. Lin Yu, I was so wrong. Can we? Can we please just go back to how we used to be in college? I didn't even break my stride. Without so much as a backward glance, I dropped one final, merciless sentence. Miss Shen, you once loved to say that a worthless bastard and a gangster were a perfect match. Honestly, I think you and the current Lin Fan are the true match made in heaven. Behind me echoed Shen Xin's pathetic, desperate sobbing, while stretching out ahead of me was the dazzling, boundless night view of Hai Cheng. Once we were settled in the car, Shen Yuchu suddenly turned and asked me, So, when exactly are you going to return that neurology book to me? I raised an amused eyebrow at her. Oh? Is the great CEO Shen doing a background check on me? She quickly turned her face to look out the window, the tips of her ears burning a faint, adorable red. I'm just afraid that the legendary Dr. Yu might suddenly run away one day, she mumbled. Grandma would absolutely tear the Shen group apart if I lost you. I couldn't help but laugh out loud, casually wrapping my arm around her shoulder. And this time, she didn't even try to dodge. Don't worry, I chuckled. Our contract hasn't expired just yet. Besides, I haven't officially taken on my role as your full-time husband yet. 3 months later, the groundbreaking clinical drug for Alzheimer's disease was officially and successfully developed. On that very same day, Hai Cheng welcomed its very first refreshing rain since the autumn season began. Stepping out of the freezing lab, I stopped dead in my tracks. There she was, Shen Yuchu, the ice-cold CEO, waiting for me by the door under a pitch-black umbrella. She was wearing that same ink-black dress I'd seen a million times before, and judging by her posture, she had been standing out in the cold for a good long while. Tiny beads of rain sparkled at the tips of her dark hair. Grandma told me to come get you, she said. Her voice was ice-cold as usual, but looking at her famously blank face, I caught a tiny crack in her armor. The tips of her ears were glowing bright red. Again, I played it cool, walking over and casually taking the umbrella from her hand, pulling her just a little closer so she wouldn't get wet. The great CEO Shen picking me up in person? I'm incredibly flattered. She shot me a sharp glare and kept her mouth shut, but noticeably, she didn't step away either. Later, on our drive back to the massive Shen family estate, she suddenly broke the silence about that divorce agreement. I whipped my head around to look at her. She hesitated, her eyes locked on the blurry, rain-soaked city flashing past the car window. When she finally spoke, her voice was so incredibly soft, it felt like she was just whispering to herself. Grandma tore it to shreds. I completely froze for a second before bursting into laughter. Well, what the heck do we do now? Yuchi went silent, showing a super rare flash of pure embarrassment. She said she finally scored the absolute perfect grandson-in-law, and under no circumstances are we allowed to get a divorce. I didn't say a single word. I just sat there, staring right at her. Slowly, she turned her head, her eyes finally locking onto mine. Outside the glass, the raging storm was reducing to a soft, misty drizzle. Inside the car, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. It was so dead quiet, we could literally hear each other breathing. Her eyes were insanely bright, shining like fresh starlight after a heavy rain. Lin Yu, she called my name. Her tone was sharp and crisp, but underneath it all, There was this warm, gentle vibe she clearly hadn't even realized was there. That medicine you made. We are going to use it on Grandma. The very first round of treatment starts tonight. I gave her a firm nod. After a heavy beat of silence, she practically whispered, "Thank you." Looking at her serious face, a mischievous urge to mess with her bubbled up inside me. What, just a verbal thank you? That's it? She completely stiffened, clearly thrown off guard. She totally didn't expect me to drop a line like that. That gorgeous face, which was usually as emotionally dead as a glacier, actually showed a genuine moment of panic. I cracked up laughing and boldly reached over to ruffle her perfectly styled hair. "Relax. I'm just messing with you." She glared daggers at me, yet surprisingly, she didn't smack my hand away. The luxury car finally rolled to a stop right in front of the Shen family's ancient manor. The storm had completely passed, leaving behind a brilliant slice of golden sunset peeking out from the edge of the sky. The feisty little old lady was already camping out by the front door. The second she saw us step out of the ride, she rushed over to greet us with an absolutely massive grin on her face. Snatching my wrist with one hand and grabbing Yuchu with the other, she practically dragged both of us straight into the house. "Hurry up, you two! We've literally just been waiting on you to start eating." Once we hit the dinner table, the old lady went into overdrive, piling a mountain of food into my bowl, and then doing the exact same to Yuchu's plate. She wouldn't stop nagging us. "My sweet grandson-in-law, eat up! And you little brat, you need to eat way more too! Both of you have gotten way too skinny." For the first time ever, Yuchu didn't snap back at being called a brat. She just quietly chewed her food, throwing these sneaky, cautious glances my way every few seconds. Once dinner was wrapped up, the old lady dragged us out to the private courtyard for a mandatory tea session. The dying sun had painted the entire garden in a breathtaking, warm orange glow. The evening air was crisp and fresh, carrying that deep, comforting scent of damp earth right after a heavy downpour. Out of nowhere, the old lady dropped a massive bomb. "Hey, grandson-in-law, and you, brat, let me confess something to you both." Yuchu and I whipped our heads toward her at the exact same time. She was smiling from ear to ear, but there was a dangerously mischievous sparkle in her eyes. "I remembered," she said. "I was completely thrown off. I remembered how you two actually ended up with that marriage certificate. I remembered everything. My jaw hit the floor. It turned out that our so-called fake marriage certificate was 100% orchestrated by this very old lady sitting right in front of us. We had been totally clueless the entire time, getting played and passively married off without even knowing the real story." The old lady gave me a wicked, knowing grin. "Grandson-in-law, you aren't actually mad at me, are you?" I glanced over at Yuchu, then turned my eyes back to the old lady, and all of a sudden, a huge smile broke across my face. "Not even a little bit. I don't blame you at all." The old lady looked ridiculously satisfied, giving a smug little nod of approval. Then she eyed the two of us up and down before dropping another grenade. "So, when exactly are you two kids planning to throw the actual wedding ceremony?" Yuchu's cool CEO persona completely shattered. She sprang up from her chair, desperately trying to make a run for it, but the old lady was way too fast, snatching her arm in a vice grip. "Where do you think you're going? You two are already legally hitched. Why are you acting so insanely shy about it?" I couldn't help but smile like an idiot as I watched the chaos unfold. In that exact moment, a huge wave of realization hit me hard. This crazy, chaotic warmth was absolutely the life I had been desperately fighting for all along. Yuchu finally managed to wrestle her arm free from her grandma's iron grip. She stomped over to me and hissed, "We are leaving. Now." I stood up, chuckling as I waved goodbye to the old lady. She beamed and waved back at us, but right before we left, she stealthily shoved a crumpled piece of paper directly into my palm. The second I got settled in the passenger seat, I unfolded the secret note. Scrawled on it was just one single sentence. "Grandson-in-law, if that little brat ever tries to boss you around, you just tell me, and I will personally put her in her place for you." I totally lost it and burst out laughing. Curious, Yuchu leaned over my shoulder, trying to peek at what was so unbelievably funny. After reading her grandma's threat, she went dead silent for 2 agonizing seconds before muttering, "Well, Grandma's handwriting is still pretty nice." I slowly turned to look at her. She caught my gaze and defensively snapped, "Linyu, what the heck is so funny to you?" I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "Honestly, I'm just laughing at my own insanely good luck." She was totally caught off guard. "What is that supposed to mean?" I smirked. I didn't have to spend a single dime, and somehow, I still ended up with a gorgeous wife. I leaned back and added, even though this whole thing started out totally fake, it feels like it's about to become very, very real now. She stared at me in stunned silence for several seconds before abruptly jerking her head away to stare out the window again. But I caught it anyway. That tiny, undeniable upward curve right at the corners of her mouth. With the heavy tension finally gone, our car smoothly cruised forward, disappearing into the peaceful night. The city lights of Hing blurred past the window. "Shen Yuchu," I called out to her, breaking the heavy silence. "Are you free tomorrow?" She turned to look at me, caught completely off guard. I held her gaze, a warm smile reaching my eyes. "Let's tear up that divorce agreement." She was dead silent for 2 long seconds. Then, she softly whispered, "Okay." Her voice was impossibly light, yet it carried way more weight than any grand promise in this world. Outside the window, the night in Hing was pitch black, but deep down, I knew this was finally just the beginning. It was all just so wonderfully silly.